Hello, Rich Eisen.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Oh, that's Susie Eisenhuffman.
Heard nationwide, televised online at richeisenshow.com.
Oh, that's Susie Eisenhuffman.
The Rich Eisen Show. Today's guests: MMQB senior writer Albert Breer, two-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning, NBC Sports NFL analyst Rodney Harrison, from TNT's All Elite Wrestling, Cody Rhodes, plus America's Got Talent judge Howie Mandel. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
All right, way to center cut it, TJ, to start our week off here on a Tuesday. Hope everybody had a safe and healthy Memorial Day weekend. We are all back from our 3-day respite here on a Tuesday. Good to see you, Christopher Brockman.
What's up, brother? How you doing,
man? Good to see you. Good to see you, Mike Del Tufo. Beautiful photograph of your little boy Cage on Instagram over the weekend. Lit up my household. It was great to see.
3 months yesterday. Holy smokes. It feels like a week. It's gone by so fast. Right?
And just a crazy time to have a newborn, too. You and Sarah just it's just so beautiful seeing how big your boy is. Hey, everybody. We're back here on the show, and we've got a heck of a guest list here, man.
Let's get it.
Peyton Manning.
Hey, now. Heard of him?
The winner of the match 2 with Tiger Woods. Figured, you know what? Let's get Peyton on here. And then Rodney Harrison right after him. It's a lot of football with Albert first up, too.
Love it.
Come on, let's talk some football. Let's talk some ball.
Let's do it.
Let's talk some pigskin. Let's talk about the white dimpled ball that Peyton Manning was whacking around the state of Florida. And then Cody Rhodes and Howie Mandel. That's our lineup for the day.
Or the one that Tom Brady was hitting left, right, water.
Hey, Cody Rhodes had a pretty good weekend in Florida as well. Remember he came on here talking about the all elite wrestling that he was starting up with TNT.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? What's this about? How's this going to work? It is dynamite. It's a chart topper. It's huge.
Up, man. Yeah.
Him and Chris Jericho headlining it. His wife, Brandy, who T.J. Jefferson would absolutely run off with if given the chance.
Oh, wow.
I'll do it. Am I wrong?
By the way, factual, not lying.
I mean, am I wrong?
I mean, come on.
Seriously.
No response from TJ.
No response at all. Mike Tyson's now part of it. He's the new and first ever AEW TNT champion. I mean, he's the boss. I mean, how could he not win it, by the way?
Just immediately go in this direction. Is he going to fight again? Is that what I saw? He got offered supposedly $20 million to fight in bare knuckle boxing.
Well, ask him. He's coming up at the top of our final hour. And then Howie Mandel. Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, no, that's what we're going to ask. Ask Cody Rhodes if he knows this.
Goodness.
Howie Mandel in the final hour. He was way ahead of the game of not wanting to shake anybody's hand. America's Got Talent returning. We talked about it, Jim, with Terry Crews, the host, last week, and Howie Mandel will be joining us on the show. He's a judge. Season 15.
15.
How amazing was the match 2? I know.
Was beginning to end, it was everything I wanted it to be.
And just seeing how much people were talking about it, right? And seeing how many people were watching it. It was a major sporting event. When you have a second window open and everybody's commenting on it in real time, then you know it's a major sporting event. And you also know it's a major sporting event if people are beasting on it to begin with, which a lot of people were, about how slow it was. It was pouring rain in Florida, pouring rain, messing with some of the equipment. Brian Anderson, who was hosting it, talking to Tiger, who's not hearing him. And I'm looking at my feed and I'm seeing people, saying what they were saying. And then it turned on a dime. For most people, I was into it from the very beginning. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved seeing familiar faces. I loved watching them compete. I loved watching 4 all-timers competing and having a good time doing it. And $20 million got raised for COVID-19 relief. Unbelievable. And And I could not believe how much fun people were also having at the expense of Tom Brady.
I mean, that surprises you?
The expense of Tom Brady, who's out there shooting at sticks or attempting to hit fairways
Right.
on national television and struggling. As if we all wouldn't do that if given the chance.
Oh, it'd be even worse.
The fact that Tom Brady was out there not only struggling, but mightily so, to me, makes him that much more relatable. Certainly on top of all of it, it is, for me, the worst nightmare I would ever have. Like, this is what I have nightmares about. I'm on a team with Phil, competing against. Oh, by the way, great. Of course, our executive producer is a Saints fan. Puts up Sean Payton's tweet.
Which was funny.
This was the ultimate tweet right here.
Very funny.
I'm liking this Florida Tom Brady right now. An A+ outstanding tweet.
That was when Tom was really struggling, too.
No, but this is my nightmare. My nightmare is I'm in a competition with Tiger and Phil. I'm not only struggling, but I'm also holding them up. That's the worst thing. That's the worst thing. They're in the fairway and you're looking for your ball. Or they're in the fairway holding up their end of the bargain and needing to take away from the concentration of their shot on the front nine where you're playing your own ball. And you're not competitively good. You're also not socially good. You're a social problem. You're holding them up. You're taking them away from the game. You're also livid, and you're just going down the wormhole. Honestly, the way Brady was playing, it was as if somebody brought up James Dolan to me. You can't get out of it. You stand there and you're thinking to yourself, I got to get out of it, especially since the ultimate nightmare. You're slogging it out with Tiger and Phil. You're holding up Tiger and Phil.
And it's also pouring down rain. You're kind of miserable to begin with.
And it's nationally televised with Charles Barkley having a hot microphone.
Just heckling you the whole time.
What the only thing missing between that and a nightmare is you're not naked. And then Brady, all right, still, even with all of this, with the ultimate respect to our guest first up in the NBCSN show, Brady still looks phenomenal, okay? Even as we all know who my wife is, as Charles Barkley reminded everybody during the broadcast.
Very funny.
She comes in and notices, wow, they're all wearing shorts. And I'm like, not Tom Brady. And Brady comes on the screen. She goes, oh, he looks good. And I'm like, thank you. That's great. Isn't that wonderful?
He did look good.
Until the ultimate for Tom, he holds out. He finally hits the shot of the day.
It was amazing.
It's not even enough to win the hole.
No, that was for par.
Because he's struggling so badly, and he splits his pants, picking the ball up out of the cup. Nothing's working. And everybody's having their fun. And I thought of one line after another, after another, after another that I dare not tweet.
You were texting him to me.
I found my audience. I needed an audience because they're really good lines. Because I knew Brady is taking notes. He's taking notes. And Barkley just went at him. Oh, $25,000 if you hit the green. I'll make it 50.
Make it 50.
It's like $1 million.
Yeah.
Hey, Judge Smells.
Hey, you can owe me.
Yeah. $1,000 you slice, like he's pulling Caddyshack lines on Brady.
And then all kinds of celebrities were getting into this. Koepka was like $100,000
Oh, man.
if he pars one of the last holes on the front nine, and then he immediately drains it. It was amazing.
What a nightmare.
It was great.
And then, of course, he does make a par on the front nine by holing out.
4 par.
And then Koepka goes, that's why you're the GOAT. Another $100K if you par one of the next two. You know what? And this is one of the many things that we're going to talk to Peyton Manning about. The concentration it requires to play this game, it's off the charts. It's off the charts.
And that's why, I think out of all of this, Brady becomes a little more likable maybe today.
It's relatable.
Because he's all of us. Like that video of him counting his shots. Did you see that one?
I know.
He's trying to figure out. We've all been there. All of us. Everyone who's played golf has shanked shot after shot like Brady. We're counting our strokes, trying to. Is that a 6 or a 7?
Yeah.
I'll give myself
we also
a 6.
know. We also know some people who, when they do this, leave out a couple of those, and you know.
It's awesome. It was so fun.
God.
So fun to watch.
May he rest in peace. I say it every time. Stuart Scott had trouble counting.
Best club in his bag's a pencil.
Oh, he had a few of these to the point where we would play with a high-ranking ESPN executive.
Oh. Hey, Richie.
No, not Bornstein. On not on the production side.
Okay.
But on the ad sales side. James Brown, you've met him.
Oh, yeah.
He would go up to Stuart. He would say, we're playing the mediocre Masters today. And I'd say to James, I'm like, JB, hey, James, what are you saying that for? He says, because I want Stuart to know that none of us are really that good, but it's as if there's a championship on the line. And I'm like, so what does that mean? Every stroke counts. White stakes, red stakes, they just didn't
register with Stu.
Oh, God, no. Like one time he would slice all the way, way out. Okay. White stakes. And he's like, I'm not going all the way back to tee off. I'll just drop here. I'm like, okay, you want to drop here.
Right.
This is your third shot.
Lay 2.
Okay. This is your third shot. And he'd go, why? And I'm like, because those are white stakes. If they're red stakes, we can have a conversation about it. Like, I'm literally having this conversation with him. And he would say to me, well, I don't have time to go all the way back there. And I'm like, great. Well, then it's another stroke. And he said, well, this could have been. Like, he starts making excuses of what it could have been. And he goes, back when the game of golf was started, were there white stakes and red stakes? Like, this is the sort of stuff he would say. Very competitive
going back
man.
to Scotland.
Very competitive. That's what I said to him. I'm like, Braveheart didn't have a cart like you currently have to go back. So we know people who are like 1, 2, 3, and you're sitting there too going, okay, make another hand motion, make another hand motion. And there's another hand motion coming, and then you would see the person go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and then write something down, and you're like, "What's the number?"
What did you get in that last one?
Oh God, we've all been
What did you get in
there.
that last one?
And yet, Brady at his most relatable, even splitting his pants, still a source of ridicule in the Twitterverse. And you know, he went back. Go for it. You know, he went back. There it is. You know, he went back on his feed and looked at all of it. You know it. You know it. I know it.
He had
the
to
American
have
people
he
know
had to
it.
done just the verifieds though, because there would have been too many to just read everybody's.
He's looking. That's it. That photograph of him right there on the screen, that's him saying, I saw what you tweeted out. I know. That's why I said that he's taking notes like Michael Jordan on a good day and probably using this as fire to win multiple senior tour championships one day on the tour. But that's the win right there, $20 million. $20 million for COVID-19 relief. And to use the television phrase, the iris on the cameras were wide open, because look how
wide open.
They were fighting it. They were fighting the
It was very
darkness.
dark. It was very dark. You could tell.
They were fighting the darkness. And also, just to give you an idea, too, you heard it a few times during the broadcast where player misses putt, player misses shot, and it would just go totally silent. Right? Do not adjust your sets when the sound goes completely out, as it did on a handful of occasions during that broadcast. You know what I'm talking about, Chris, right? Where someone misses a putt and then the next 2-3 seconds is silence.
Oh, that's cursing.
That's cursing.
Yeah, that's cursing.
It's not because the rain was messing with the audio. I asked my audio executive.
Yeah.
When a broadcast of this stature and of this amount of preparation that goes into it,
Yeah.
the sound drops completely out for
they're
3
on a
seconds and then
delay.
comes back.
They're on a delay.
What does that mean?
And they missed a couple.
They missed a couple flying?
There were a couple in the beginning.
But you could tell the
But
delay.
they were definitely
The
delayed.
delay was 45 seconds to a minute because when they went to A-Rod, he had the TV on in the background,
Yeah.
and you could hear at what point
Yeah.
they
I
picked
see.
him up. So
By
the delay
way,
was long.
As I tweeted out during it too, the best A-Rod, self-deprecating A-Rod, is the best A-Rod there is or ever was. When they asked him about some advice for some of these guys, he's like, I'm the last guy you want to ask for advice for golf, which is, again, another thing.
It's a hard game, man.
And in these conditions,
Oh,
in these conditions, and look at this. You're doing something that you're not expert at, and the person you're teamed with is Tiger Woods, who I also must say brought his A game
he looked great by
on
the way.
Sunday.
Oh my goodness!
How many fairways did he hit?
All of them. I don't think he missed. At one point, they were on the 14 or 15. They're like, I think it was Brian Anderson. Tiger, you've hit every fairway today. He's like, yeah, I know.
And you're Peyton Manning, and I can't wait to ask him this. And this is exactly what I'm going to ask him. I'll just give you a heads up in advance. By the way, 844-204-RICH, if you have any thoughts on what we're talking about. It was just so great. I can't stop talking about it. It really was,
It was
so
great.
wonderful.
It was great. And about how bad Brady was playing, Kevin Clark, our buddy at the Ringer, had a tremendous tweet. Tom Brady is a few holes from remembering he had a thing today and has to take off at the turn, if that's cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's all of that. He's down
everybody was
28-3.
having fun. Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, damn near won it, though, didn't he?
Close.
Oh, a couple
he did
of-
drain that long eagle putt.
I know. And then Peyton Manning just giving Tom an earful on the practice range about he was thinking of bringing Eli and then maybe Nick Foles, which at what point Eli, Tom accepted. When he heard Nick Foles' name, he goes, that's a cheap shot. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, man. But
it's the defense's fault. On
just, and this is what I'll bring up with Peyton Manning. Guys won 2 championships, right? 2 different teams, waited a long time. In terms of his life, the success at the high school and collegiate level, being drafted where he was drafted, doing what he did. There's a man as a statue. Man is a statue in front of a National Football League stadium that was built essentially because of his success.
Oh, yeah.
All right? But snaking in a 20-footer for a real deal birdie, no candy. Snaking in a 20-footer to win a hole for Tiger Woods on national television against Brady and Phil Mickelson. Got to be a top 5 moment for him in his career, in his life.
Ooh, he's got kids, made Super Bowls.
Dude, snaking in a 20-footer, no doubt about it, too. A beautiful read, excellent stroke, superb speed, center cut, real deal. I fired at the green. I made the shot. I got a 2, not net anything. That's amazing. Tony Romo, here he comes, right?
I want to see Romo next in one of these.
Steph Curry's already said I want in.
Let's do it.
The question is, who's the other player from the NBA?
Well, you could have Romo be the other,
Or why
Athlete.
not run this back?
Yeah, let's mix it up.
Switch it up.
Yeah, I want Justin Thomas out there. Spieth would be fun. What do you want, switch partners?
Don't touch Phil and Tiger.
No, I mean, have Brady play with Tiger this time.
Yeah. Why not switch it up? And see what happens. Do not touch the professional players. You can't get any bigger than Tiger Woods. And the only person who's as close to Tiger is Phil, who was dynamite with the microphone. Him describing the issues with his chip he was facing on then
hitting it,
executing it.
Within like a foot.
And then he was the leader in terms of the competition. He was the one that was kind of pushing everybody.
Yeah.
Because Tiger didn't say a word. Tiger just showed up.
Tiger didn't talk much.
No, but
Phil
was the one. Phil was the one who was getting into it. Phil was the one saying to Tiger, let's bump it up here. Let's do this. You need a guy like that in your foursome. Don't touch Phil. Phil should do it every year with Tiger. It's Phil and Tiger, and then if you want to switch out who the all-time greats in the sport are.
I'm okay with getting the young guys in. If Justin Thomas, who was a big star of the weekend on the mic, walking around, maybe Spieth, Ricky Fowler. I'm into the young guys.
Come on, man. You can't, in terms of popularity, you can't touch those guys. And the Koepka, who's, Twitter tough, needs to be the one who shows up.
Well, he shows up during majors.
Well, I know that. But he's got to show up with his mouth and his stick.
I mean, I'm in if Koepka's in. That would be awesome.
That was so great. Peyton Manning's going to be first up in the NBC Sports Net show exactly 1 hour from now, so make a note of it. But joining us right now from Sports Illustrated, let's talk some ball right now. Our buddy Albert Breer returns to the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Albert?
I'm great. How you doing, Rich?
We just spent the first 20 minutes talking about that great match too, with Tiger and Peyton beating Phil and Tom. That was great. I just loved every second of it.
Yeah. So I was juggling some stuff. I was trying to watch it, I was juggling my column and everything, and I thought the coolest part, and I don't have the context. I was in and out a little bit on it, but I thought the coolest part was Phil basically giving Brady a golf lesson. That was the stuff that when I was watching, I'm like, holy crap, wouldn't that be cool to be out there and you've got Phil Mickelson telling you what to do with the shot, So
yeah,
there was
a
lot of cool elements to it. But that was the thing that stuck out to me is wow, for Brady, this has got to be pretty cool. And that's a guy who's got 6 Super Bowl rings.
I know. At least he got something out of it because he was getting an earful. I mean, from Barkley live and then on Twitter, just an absolute total deluge of people having fun at Tom's expense. Yeah. So,
I mean, it was definitely. He looked like me on the front 9, and then maybe a little bit more like a pro athlete back
there.
There
you go. Pretty much, he turned it around. Well, okay, so about half hour before we went on the air, the governors of the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo, and New Jersey, Phil Murphy, announced that teams can return to facilities. And both the Giants and Jets sent out statements saying that we're looking into it. We'll do it when it's best for our operations. But it certainly looks like dovetailing the comments from Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, who does have many businesses from malls to gyms and all that sort of stuff. So him being optimistic in public helps a lot of his businesses. But it does certainly look right now, Albert, like this is a go. Would you say that that's the general sentiment right now with the NFL?
Yeah, there's still a lot of restrictions in these states as they do reopen where, NFL teams wouldn't be able to bring everybody back. And I think if you look at the timeline of reopening in places like New Jersey and New York and Washington State, and Massachusetts and California, certainly, I don't think there's a real likelihood that they'll be able to get everyone back in the building in those sorts of places by the time, what is spring on the NFL calendar ends, which is going to be, I believe, June 26th. So what I think you'll see over the next month is really teams starting to filter people back in so they can test some of the protocols that they put in place. The good news is that this does put them in position to open training camp on time, which would put us on schedule to open the season on time. So I'd be surprised if, you get players en masse back in buildings at any point over the next month. But what you might see where, okay, the league wants to see what it looks like with players in some places, and so they may say, well, you can't go out and have a practice because that would give you an advantage over these other teams. But if you want to go in and meet, maybe you can do that. And that would be the first sign of the NFL really, seriously breaking, what had been, I think, pretty protective measures from a competitive balance standpoint to kind of insulate the teams that are in the areas with more restrictive rules.
So I guess what are you hearing about everything else? That Troy Vincent, the head of football operations, saying that essentially that they're going to go full bore, expect a full season on time with fans until they're told otherwise. And the owner of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, saying there's a plan to have at least 15,000 fans at Dolphins games, this fall. What is the timeline from what you're hearing for a league with a league that's essentially taken full advantage of them not having to have one over the last several months in a way that other sports who were interrupted had to have?
I think it's okay to say. I think it's okay for everybody to say I don't know because we don't know what this is going to look like in July or August. That said, there's definitely been progress. And I do think they're eventually going to have to cross that bridge where there are going to be some inequities where one state's going to allow this and another state's not going to allow that. It's going to be problematic for one team and maybe not so much for another. To this point, they've had that luxury, like you said, where they don't have to do anything. They're at a point in their calendar where it's okay for them to just sit back and kind of watch what happens with everybody else. And they're going to have that luxury over the next couple months too, Rich. I mean, as baseball and basketball and hockey get back to work, they're going to get a chance to look at what those sports do right, what those sports do wrong, and incorporate it to what they're doing. I would say this, as far as what Troy is saying, Troy Vincent's saying, the league office has to take care of the teams, and right now the teams are going to have to sell tickets, and so they do have to project confidence to their customers that they're going to at least try to do this so they can move the product. But I think there are certain places, certainly the teams out there in LA that I think are very much planning for the reality that they could start the season without fans in the stands or with a limited number of fans in the stands. And so much of this, as you know, is going to be based on what happens state to state. But I'd expect them to kind of be outwardly confident about the idea that they could have fans in the stands come September or October, with the knowledge that it's probably going to be different from one team to the next.
Albert Breer, the MMQB senior NFL reporter, Sports Illustrated here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's going down this week with ownership? They're voting remotely on some rules changes. Yep. What's set the week up here as we head into June 2020? Albert,
the one that I think got now the onside kick alternative got a lot of attention. We'll get to that, but I think the one that might have the most impact. I don't know why this slid on the radar as much as it did last week, but the Sky Judge being voted on, I think, is huge. And the fact that the competition committee is now behind the Sky Judge thing is enormous, too. When the pass interference thing went in last year, Rich, that was seen by the 32 head coaches as a step towards getting a Sky Judge. They all want a Sky Judge. I'm telling you, that number of coaches that are in favor of a Sky Judge is 90 to 95%. And the few holdouts only are that way because they want to see how the mechanics of it work. And all those coaches want a mechanism where the officials have the benefit that we all have at home, where you've got infinite different angles and crystal clear HD. Why do all of us have that at home and the officials on the field don't get the benefit of that? The coaches want the officiating crews to have that benefit. And so the idea of putting in the pass interference review thing last year was seen by those 32 coaches as a step towards the Sky Judge. They're going to vote on the Sky Judge this week unless they decide, and I think that this is probably the most likely scenario, to go with it as an experimental thing in preseason and then make a decision at the end of August if they want to implement parts of it into the season and then maybe vote on the whole thing in 2021. But it sure sounds like the Sky Judge is coming, and they're going to discuss that this week. And then, of course, there's sort of that fun rule change that we can, all debate until we're blue in the face, where, teams are going to have the chance to vote on a proposal from the Eagles, which is going to give you 2 times every game the chance, instead of an onside kick, to get a 4th and 15 snap from the 25-yard line. There's some unintended consequences there, but that's something that's, at its root, a health and safety measure, because the onside kick's such a dangerous play. But, obviously is going to be something that would have a big effect on the way the end of some games could play out.
Let's take this one at a time here, Albert. How does the Sky Judge work from what you've been told and understand?
Yeah.
Because, the minute that you have somebody upstairs after a play is done, not throwing a flag while it's being done, but using replay to run through, to relitigate a play in the mere seconds that we've got between that play and the next play, only serves to lend a serious level of frustration to the viewer at home, if not in the stadium, to know when a flag has been thrown and for what and why. What is the actual mechanics of this?
Well, you hit on the key point, which is the play clock. And the play clock's going to govern a lot of this. And, there are certain plays where when we see them on TV, it's obvious to us, right? Like, oh, my God, they got that one wrong. That's clearly wrong. And then there are other ones where when you look at it from 10 different angles, you're like, they got that wrong, And so there's a difference between the two. And I think the play clock's going to govern this, in that the guy up top has very little time to get to the head referee and say, you got this wrong. So it's got to be obvious, just logically, if you look at the time constraint there. And so there are going to be 2 instances where the booth official or the booth umpire, the Sky Judge, is going to come into play. And he's going to report to the head referee, so he's going to be part of the officiating crew. One is he can buzz down to him in the first 15 minutes of the play clock. So once the play clock's at 25 seconds, he can't buzz down anymore. The other is if the head referee wants to use him as a resource, and he can buzz up to him. And so, I think that way, that sort of kind of alleviates some of the issues that you might have with delaying the game or slowing the game down, because it almost has to be an obvious miss for this whole thing to get triggered, which I think is what we're all looking for those things to get corrected. And you got to give the coaches credit for this, because the coaches are the ones who worked on this. And there are a bunch of guys, Bill O'Brien, John Harbaugh, Ron Rivera, Mike Tomlin, Sean Payton. There are a bunch of guys that worked really hard to get this right, and that want to see, the technology that we all have at our disposal incorporated into the way the game's officiated. And so I think that there's an efficient way to do it. And through their hard work, I think that they feel like they found that area where you can do this in an efficient way where it won't slow down the game. And think about this, too. It would probably take some unnecessary challenges out of the game, which is a plus for everybody as well.
Well, that's one thing, I guess. But to me, what you just said, Albert, sounds exactly what was said in support of making pass interference reviewable. Everything that you just said, hey, only the obvious. Hey, we got to get the obvious right. Hey, people are seeing it at home.
Right.
We got to use it to fix it, and that's what the coaches want. They want it reasonable, and then when it came time to actually putting it into play, the powers that be, and there, you could say it's either the operations office or the officiating department, which is obviously under NFL operations, that somebody just didn't. I'll say it. Somebody didn't have the stomach for it. Where they didn't, that's what's been pointed. I mean, that's what Sean Payton said on our Buddy Lock and Forrest show in Baltimore a couple weeks ago, or absolutely intimated that sentiment, and it made news because here's the coach who tried to make it happen and was the most aggrieved party, saying that hey, it could have worked if the NFL had gotten it right or wanted to do it or had the gumption for doing it. Why aren't we going to have the same thing replay out with Sky Judge?
Well, it's funny because I think it's sort of like, I'll take you inside the politics of this.
Please.
That I think, I think that this is, there are politics involved. And I don't know how much you guys followed what happened at the owners' meetings last year, but there really was, last year, like after what happened in the Saints-Rams game at the end of the 2018 season, At the owners' meetings in Arizona, the 32 coaches banded together and said, we need to get this fixed. And, I think that where they saw the pass interference challenge system as sort of a middle ground and a step towards the sky judge, I really think the officiating department took that as, like, this isn't right for us. This is going to make our jobs that much harder. And we weren't really, this didn't really work for us. So, like between Al Riveron, the on-field officials, the coaches, there was some ill will there. And I think that there was a lot of feeling that there was push and pull on that in the way that it was officiated during the season in 2019. And I think the way the coaches have addressed this is now they've taken themselves out of it, and they've said, we're giving you an extra official now, and that guy is going to be part of your crew. So it's not us throwing challenge flags and making your job more difficult. It's somebody who's going to be part of your crew and reporting to your head referee that's going to be a resource to you. So we're not calling you out for mistakes. We're not challenging the way that you're officiating the game. We're giving you a resource, and we're putting that resource on your crew so you'll have a relationship with the guy and you'll be able to work with him, and he will be a backstop to give you something that you haven't had over the years. And I think that makes all the sense in the world. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but this whole thing kind of turned into a mess last year, and we all witnessed that in real time. And it really, I think underneath all of it, there was this push and pull between the officials and the coaches. And now I think the solution that the coaches have worked on with the competition committee and then tried to make work here is we want to just help the officials here. We don't want to make this us versus them. We want to help the officials make the game better, and they think they've done it with this.
Albert Breer here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, then I love the rule of let's go for it on 4th and 15 from the 25. I love it. Some coaches are going to – we spoke to Frank Reich about it on Friday, and we said, his former boss in Philly, Doug Peterson, is our guess as the first coach to do it while up in a game to steal a second possession in the same manner that we're seeing so many coaches go for 2 when they were up 7 instead of just adding on the extra point to make it 8, forcing another team to go for 2 to try and tie a game. They're going for 2 to go up 9. It's just one play from the 2-yard line. Someone's going to do the math and figure out going for it up makes sense. Is that the unintended consequence you're talking about? What unintended consequence did you refer to earlier about that from what you're hearing?
Yeah, so one head coach actually kind of laid this out for me over the weekend where say you score, say you score the go-ahead touchdown, and you're up, and there's like 10 seconds left, right? And you got to kick off to the other team. Could you run a 4th and 15 play on the last play of the game, snap the ball, run around for 10 seconds, and the game's over? So there's sort of some circumstances there where you could sort of use that play in a way it's not intended to be used. Where, I mean, look, it's not the end of the world, you know what I mean? But that isn't really the way, that's not really why you're putting the rule in. And so there are some circumstances here. Like, that was why it was suggested at one point, maybe this should only be allowed if you're ahead or if you're behind and not if you're ahead. So there are certain kinks in the rule that I think that they'd have to work out and that are probably going to get brought up on this conference call. But look, the bottom line in here is, Rich, they've identified the onside kick as a very dangerous play, right? And we know, like, owners, because of everything they went through with the concussion litigation and everything else, they don't like to go backwards on health and safety matters. And if you're viewing this as a health and safety matter, it's going to be voted on that way. I think it probably goes through. And I mean, credit to the Eagles too for coming up with a fun solution that could kind of add a different wrinkle to the game in the end. And so, yeah, I mean, there are unintended consequences, and I think that the one of being the team that's ahead and using it as a way to like drain the clock, like that could be an issue. But I don't think it's anything that's horrible.
I don't know. I mean, going for it 4th and 15, and that from what I could read in the rule, if there's a holding penalty on that play, you still have to go for it on 4th and 25.
Right.
You can't just say, we'll kick it. Now we're going to kick it. You can't do that. The minute you go for it from 4th and 5th, there's a huge risk. I mean, any penalty means that you have to try it again from longer away.
Sure.
I mean, that's something.
Not only that, not only that, Rich, but you'd be like, so say you have that holding penalty. Now it's 4th and 25 from the 15.
Yeah.
Well, now the other team gets possession at the 15 if you throw an incomplete pass.
Right.
You just run the ball there because you're like, we have to push them a little further out. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much strategy involved in that part of it. It should be really interesting.
I know. So, if somebody who's up wants to mess around to try and steal a possession or, run some clock, I mean, there's a lot of risk before that reward would hit. So and that's why I love it. Because the onside kick, it's just, certainly under the new player safety rules, which I have no problem with, it makes it even more difficult to convert. And then the number of times that the reason why it works isn't because the kicker made such a great swing of the leg that the ball pops in the air and it's great. It just means somebody else screwed up because it's a total scramble play and you're just hoping that somebody else screws up. And it's, I know it's been that way for 100 years, but.
I mean, the bottom line is they not just onside kicks, the kickoff in general has sort of been, I think, in peril for the last 10 years because of everything we've learned about the dangers of it and everything else. And I think finding fun ways to make the play to preserve the play, I think are good. And this could wind up being a way to preserve the play long term. And like I said, the XFL and God rest their soul, but the XFL, their solution to the kickoff. To the kickoff situation, I thought was a really good one. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, that's something the NFL should steal. And so there's no question. I mean, they've been sort of working on trying to fix the kickoff from a health and safety standpoint forever. And this would add a really, really interesting piece of strategy to the game.
Okay, couple things to hit you on before letting you go on your Tuesday. My colleague from ESPN, my buddy John Clayton, said from back in the day that he's hearing Russell Wilson would love to add Antonio Brown in Seattle. Is there any there for that?
Yeah, there are a lot of hurdles that the Seahawks that Antonio Brown still has to clear, and I just wonder if the Seahawks, with the situation they're dealing with Quentin Dunbar now, if they would be in position to roll the dice on someone like Antonio Brown. They have shown interest in him in the past, so they've done the background work on him and everything else. And the idea of it's really fun, especially because the Seahawks have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So they've got Will Disley coming back now at tight end off of injury. They've got a decent emerging young group around Russell Wilson. And so it'd be fun, the idea of Antonio Brown as a player being thrown into that mix, and they have done the homework on him. I just wonder if after the Dunbar situation, if they're in a position to do that. And then, whether or not Brown's capable of clearing the hurdles, he's going to need to clear to get back in the league.
Okay, and then the Dak Prescott contract, usually, as you know, it's a not just a midnight league, it's a 12:01 league, so you wait to the very end, which would be what, middle of June for
July
that? Or July 15th, middle of July?
Yeah.
Okay, so be that as it may, I think we've got a long way to go. What do you say to people who think that Dak's not worth the money that he's reportedly asking for?
I think the problem is the question, then what? And I know I've seen some people do the equation like, if you add Andy Dalton to, 7 other players you'd be able to afford if you look away from Dak Prescott, well, wouldn't you have a better team then? And my answer to that is, well, yeah, you might be really good, and then you got to turn around and pay Andy Dalton. So, you tell me what you want to do. It's a question. It's a question that gets asked because the quarterback market's moved so far beyond everything else. And look, these teams have this great little window when they've got young quarterbacks at a cheap rate. So the Texans have benefited from that. The Chiefs have benefited from that. The Eagles and Rams for a bunch of years benefited from that. Eventually, the bill comes due. And, you've heard for years and years how some smart team is going to wind up churning quarterbacks. I think the problem is the alternative is that you're sort of out there with everybody else looking for the next guy, and that's not an easy spot to be in. So, I think they get Dak done before July 15th. I think the key to the whole thing is going to be the length of the deal, not the dollars. And I think they'd be smart to get it done before Patrick Mahomes does the deal in Kansas
You
City.
think? Or Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Because the price only goes up. They didn't get it done before. They didn't get it done before Wentz or Goff. I mean, the price only goes
Right.
up as you wait. That's it.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, if we're sitting here, I mean, like, look, like, does $40 million sound like a lot for a quarterback right now? Yeah, it does, because Russell Wilson's, at 35, and he's the highest paid now, and that's $5 million more than 35. But if you wait, like, if you decide, okay, like, we're going to sit here and wait, and, it's possible a month from now we maybe have two guys. You could have Watson and Mahomes making $40 million a year. Now all of a sudden, that's the bar. And I'm not saying they're going to get done that quickly, but I mean, we've all seen what happens with the quarterback market. It doesn't stagnate. It just constantly, incrementally moves up. And so, I think that there'd be a definite price to pay if you're waiting to do Dak. And all you got to do is ask the Washington Redskins how the Kirk Cousins situation played out. If you want, a roadmap for what making quarterbacks play on the franchise tag does for you.
Yeah, again, at some point, you're right. When you see churning quarterbacks, Dak is the perfect example of successful, shows a ton of promise, lots of upside, has a ton of great stats, still coming off, however, one of the more disappointing Cowboys seasons ever. And everybody who blames the coach, now that the coach is gone, is blaming Dak. And I'm just saying it's his turn. It's his time. You got to pay him before you get into this problem and ride with him. That's it. The kid is supremely talented, and I do believe another team, as this, I think this opinion is becoming less and less popular, certainly within my own studio, because Brockman's laughing over there himself. He's the king of, Andy Dalton stinks until actually I could use him as my own quarterback in New England, but then he winds up in Dallas and Dak isn't worth it. Let's go with Andy Dalton. Like, literally, that's been your stance, correct, Chris? Or is that
exact. I mean, look, I just don't think Dak should be the highest paid player in the NFL. He doesn't deserve it. I mean, it's pretty simple.
But wait a minute. All right. Wait, so Chris, did Jimmy Garoppolo deserve it? Did Kirk Cousins deserve it?
No, none of those guys deserve it. And have they won anything, Albert?
But Derek Carr is a great example, right? Like, Derek Carr signed his deal, I believe it was 2000, I want to say 15, right? Or 2016 maybe? Right in there somewhere. Or no, it was later than that, because it was actually like, he was a 14 rookie, so it would have been 2017. That's 3 years ago, okay? 3 years ago, Derek Carr was the highest paid quarterback in football when he signed his deal, okay? Do you know how people are talking about his contract now, Chris?
Right.
It's a bargain. That's why they keep him around.
I get it. But you know what his record is in the last 3 years? He's won 17 games in 3 years.
All right, Andrew Luck was making $25 million. If Andrew Luck was still playing at $25 million a year, he signed that deal 3 years ago. You'd be stealing him.
That's why I'm saying
right?
you got to do it early. You got to do it early, and then you know, unless because Kirk Cousins is the rarity where you get paid like you're an outfielder. You're getting paid like you're a starting pitcher. Which is guaranteed money. He's getting paid like Garrett Cole. Honestly, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's the price of doing business at that position. I mean, it's like, look, if you get it right, like, it's a good problem to have, and I think you have to sort of approach it that way. It's like, it sucks that maybe there are 3 or 4 guys who would be on your team otherwise that aren't there anymore because you paid your quarterback. But like, having stability at that position is the most important thing. And it's priced as such. You know what I mean? Like, that price tag is on there because what everyone's looking for is to be as stable as you possibly can be at the most important position.
Albert, you're the man. Everything good? How's your wife doing? I know she's in healthcare. Have things improved or what?
She's great. Yeah, I mean, she's doing great. She had they've. The healthcare system up here, they were taxed for a while, and
in Boston,
they actually set up a couple field hospitals in the Boston area as a result of that. But things have settled down, and the really cool thing is, you've seen a lot of people, public, like a lot of there's been an outpouring of support for people in those places. In fact, today, Wahlburgers, which is, I don't, do you guys have that out there? It's like
No, but
Mark.
oh yes, of course.
You know what it is?
Sure.
Right. So
We do
Emily
have
got an email this morning that like her unit, like Wahlburgers sent lunch over for everyone in the unit today. And so like you see little things like that, like where, people are reaching out and thanking the doctors and the nurses, who are out there doing God's work, in really fun ways. And so it's been cool to see that. I know she's really felt that. And I know how much it's appreciated too from all those people that they feel like their work is being like people are paying attention to the good work they're doing.
Albert, you're the man. Best to your family, best to everybody, and I appreciate you spending a half an hour on the phone with me, catching us up on the NFL. Appreciate it. While we're on the phone, I don't know who of your colleague at Yahoo, but reporting that mini camps could be scheduled as early as June 15th and as late as June 27th. Like we can actually see practices.
Well, yeah, that would be, so that the calendar goes to the 26th. So if they were going to have mini camps, if they were going to have some form of players coming in and getting work done, again, I think would be part of like testing their protocols. Then it would have to happen at some point in the last 2 weeks of June, as was negotiated with the union.
Okay, Albert, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. We'll chat soon.
Awesome, thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, Albert Breer. Again, I honestly, I don't know if the risk that we're running as a society is any different than it was when we went in sheltering in place. But it sure looks like things are being eased by powers that be, and I don't know if it's economically driven or they're looking at the health rates diving and putting it all together. Sure looks like we're going to have sports. The NHL, Gary Bettman, is announcing at 4:30 Eastern Time today a formal announcement on return to play. And that will be on at 4:30 Eastern Time on NBCSN, whose audience we're about to join in about 9 minutes' time. So there's that. Baseball's on the clock, man. Figure out the money. Again, if this is something that can be done, I'm looking up during this conversation and seeing I think it's Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich in front of no fans.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the action looks amazing.
Great. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously the health situation in Germany has been better in terms of testing and tracing and results than this country. But, they're not going wide. I don't know what it sounds like. I'm sure it sounds weird. Can you pump in, what is it, vuvuzelas? Can you do that? I'm sure you can. I don't know.
I mean, the soccer crowd's pretty much like this the whole time, and then they cheer when it gets a little.
But in terms of this action, it looks pretty damn intense to me. Doesn't look any different.
Yeah, I'm tuning in.
NFL will be beyond weird with no fans. We'll
get used to it.
I know. It's going to be weird as hell.
Will it be weird if you're sitting on your couch, you're watching?
No, I want to watch it.
You're watching Chiefs and Texans, and it looks just like maybe obviously the two best teams are watching the Bundesliga right now. Like it looks like Texans versus Chiefs to you, and you go wide, and you're seeing none of the Chiefs fans there while it's an eerie raising of the banner.
The silence.
But you're sitting at home.
I'm like, I want.
We come on the air. We come on the air that Friday afterwards, and the phone lines are lit, and we're all talking about it. And again.
But what's it going to do for like home field advantage?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Places like Kansas City or Seattle, or
I don't know. Ask the guy who's going to send a guy in his first career road start into Seattle with no fans because everything always breaks their team's way.
Wow. It's not always about the Jets getting screwed, too, bud.
No, it's always about the Patriots getting breaks.
Yeah, you're right. Quarterback suspended for air. You guys have
quarterback suspended
for
air.
That's a name.
No
Write that
standing.
name down.
Like, come on.
Quarterback that's a name. Fantasy name.
League doesn't understand science.
That was a good album.
Suspended
the
for air.
quarterback.
Was that Air Supply?
Yes. Suspended for air. Wow. Never released in America. It was just released in Europe. It was an import here. Suspended for
forfeited
air.
draft picks.
Sort of looks like
multiple
it, man.
years.
That we're going to get action, and I just hope again that we're all going to be able to stay safe. Makes me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm
I
rooting
want them to
for
pump
it.
the
I want
crowd
it to
in.
happen.
People,
Boy, do I want
care.
it to happen in the worst way. I want it to happen.
I want crowd in the back of the NFL games. Gotta. You have to
You
have
like
it.
fake crowd?
I
how
like that.
about
I want
this?
to do it.
How about
I've
this?
added fake crowd
How
for
about
years.
this? Let's get all
We've done it.
How about this? Let's get all the teams back in their facilities safely.
Yeah.
Let's get a protocol going.
Yep.
Let's figure out how we can have a safe game.
Then we
Player
can do
health and safety issues, like forget about where what the strike zone is and using the crown of your helmet. Just merely lining up next to each other can be particularly dangerous. You know, the number of times that we all go quiet because somebody's spending the night in the hospital getting carted off. You know, just merely standing next to each other can get somebody hospitalized. So let's just I don't want to throw any cold water on it. I'm just saying what my thinking and what my feelings are, but I'm rooting for it. Rooting so hard for it. Good Lord. I mean, I can't wait to talk to Peyton Manning about golf because of what a great weekend it was watching that event. We're all missing live sports, and we got something so close to it this weekend, which is why it was so exciting to watch it. We'll be chatting with Peyton Manning in about 25 minutes' time. Rodney Harrison of NBC after that. Wonder if he thinks Dak's worth the money. That'll be a fun conversation with Rodney. Cody Rhodes and Howie Mandel. And you, 844-204-RICH. Our phone lines are open. We're ready to take your phone calls on our friends on NBCSN. On Sirius XM Channel 211. We're on Dan Patrick Radio every day. Love following DP and the boys every day. And, of course, our YouTube stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Please subscribe if you're out there maybe for the first time or you're out there always, and don't subscribe. We'd appreciate it. Back with NBCSN in a moment. To myself, okay, in the few minutes that are here, let me write an Ed Hockley retirement letter and read it out on the air. We then post it on the Rich Eisen Show feed, exclusive. The number of people that retweeted it and said they thought it was real is alarming. It's the only way to put it. So, God bless him. You know how much we love SVP. Is Scott on the line now? Is Scott there?
Yeah.
You thought it was real.
Well, I mean, as you said, you are a guy that has a reputation. You work at the NFL Network. You got sources. And when it was brought up to me in our meeting, hey, did you see the letter Hockley wrote? And I thought, well, that's funny. And then later, as I'm trying to write this script, I'm not finding it anywhere on like Google searches or whatever. But I'm like, where'd y'all see that? And then the producer that had it's like, oh, it's on Eisen's feed. So I read your feed, and I'm like, there it is. I see the quotes that work, and I just slam it in there on the script and read it on television. Fake news. Fake news.
Hashtag, yes. Hashtag fake news.
I'm mortified. Apologies to Mr. Hockley.
I'm sorry. We did not.
No.
That was not our intent.
Yeah, we didn't know it was going to happen like that.
That's entirely on us for not vetting, and it's been an alarm bell that goes off to me that I'm not able to find this anywhere but there. But again, and this is where I'll turn it and point at you and blame you, Rich Eisen. When you're a source of information and you got stuff no one else got, you think, yeah, sure, he's got the Hockley retirement letter.
And it's, I guess, believable that he's got his own stationery with himself on it, with a watermark of him as a ref.
As believable as it is that he's going to go sort out the lactic acid with a stretching regimen.
Vigorous regimen. Vigorous regimen.
I beg your pardon. Yeah,
You're the best, man. You're the best. I'm sorry.
You're the worst. Don't spoof me like that again.
Hello, Rich Eisen.
This is The Rich Eisen Show.
Oh, that's Susie Eisenhuffman.
Heard nationwide, televised online at richeisenshow.com.
Oh, that's Susie Eisenhuffman.
The Rich Eisen Show. Earlier on the show, MMQB senior writer Albert Breer. Coming up, two-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning. NBC Sports NFL analyst Rodney Harrison. From TNT's All Elite Wrestling, Cody Rhodes. Plus, America's Got Talent judge Howie Mandel. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Okay, everybody. It's a Tuesday. Hope everybody had a healthy and safe Memorial Day weekend. The Rich Eisen Show back live on the air here in Los Angeles, California. We're live on NBCSN. We say good morning to all of our NBCSN viewers. Those of you who are streaming us on YouTube, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show, or listening to us on Sirius XM Channel 211. Listen to Albert Breer update us on many issues in the NFL, including Dak Prescott and his contractual situation. Also, we've got a possibility of change in the NFL rulebook coming up this week. We'll talk about it with Rodney Harrison when he joins us shortly. In about 20 minutes' time, Peyton Manning's going to call into the program. He, along with Tiger Woods, the winners of the Match 2 over the weekend, Cody Rhodes and Howie Mandel will also join us on this program, and you should too at 844-204-RICH as we take you up until 3 Eastern time here on NBCSN, and then 90 minutes after that right here on NBCSN. Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the National Hockey League, will make a formal announcement on return to action for the 2019-2020 National Hockey League season. And
how about that?
Color is interested. So
let's go.
Looks like hockey is, well, we know we're thinking of coming back. We're just assuming, it looks like they're coming back. Or have they struck a deal on the NHL and the NHL Players Association? How far behind could basketball be? We're waiting to hear from Major League Baseball on their plans for the 2020 season. Yahoo Sports saying that the National Football League is eyeing a return from minicamps anywhere between the middle of June and June 27th. The governors of the great state of New York and New Jersey, the great states of New York and New Jersey, Andrew Cuomo and Phil Murphy, saying that pro sports teams can return to their facilities and hold games. Now, we know Andrew Cuomo, as Buffalo Bills fans will point out, Andrew Cuomo has only one National Football League team to worry about. Whereas Phil Murphy has the Jets and Giants, who sent out statements that they are thinking of returning as soon as possible. And that's good because that's the one story everybody's talking about this weekend. Overshadowing. And I'm glad we have Rodney Harrison on. Overshadowing the Match 2. And that's the fact that the Memorial Day weekend kicked off with the Jets signing Joe Flacco to a one-year contract. So look out. Now we've got to have football.
So he'll be starting like week 4 because Sam Darnold's going to get typhoid or something?
Well, Chris Brockman, I would use scurvy.
A snake bite? I'm just thinking those Oregon Trail diseases.
If you want to go with odd maladies that knock a quarterback out at the beginning of a very promising for many fans season.
Just wondering. So
when Sam Darnold doesn't have enough fruit and scurvy hits whenever the NFL does suit up, Joe Flacco will be out there.
Hey, he's elite.
How are you, Mike Del Tufo? You good over there?
I'm doing good, Rich. How you doing?
I'm
ready for football.
Hey, man.
And
again,
sports.
Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, saying earlier today, I believe on CNBC, that they plan on having football, opening up the Dolphins stadium maybe to 15,000 fans. I know you can insert your joke here in terms of the Dolphins drawing 15,000 fans. Everybody's got jokes. As we saw over the weekend. We saw over the weekend in the Match 2, you know it's a major sporting event when the second window is white hot with commentary, when your Twitter feed is lit with what you're all watching collectively as a sports viewing nation. That happens in big-time sporting events, and it happened during the match, Champions for Charity. And, man, those champions, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady, it was amazing. Most watched golf telecast in cable television history. 6 million viewers it almost hit, or 14 million fewer viewers than dollars they raised for COVID-19 relief. $20 million raised.
Awesome.
Corporate sponsors and, of course, many people who were watching and chiming in with their dollars and their cents. And I loved every second of it. Loved it. As I tweeted out, and they put the tweet on the screen, for all-timers, having fun competing was a total blast to watch. And they raised a ton of money for COVID-19 relief. I said it was so needed, so welcome, and so great. And I appreciate the folks at Turner for popping that tweet on the screen. And then did you hear how Charles Barkley responded after that? I think you all did, because my phone lit up.
Hello, Rich Eisen.
No, that's not it.
Rich,
there it is. Go for
Hello,
it,
Rich Eisen.
Yep.
Rich Eisen. Oh, that's Susie Eisenhuth.
Thank you, Charles.
Chuck made himself laugh.
Here I was sitting at home thinking that even there I was safe from Charles Barkley's rapier-like commentary. It was a huge hit in the household, though.
Oh, I bet.
My kids loved it, especially. And Charles Barkley just having his fun, man. He was dynamite. Brian Anderson was great. The Ernie Johnson piece before the
my goodness.
festivities about why he was not there, because he doesn't want to risk bringing COVID-19 home for his son, who's been living on a ventilator for more than 30 years. It's all about trying to come together to get through this together, and that's what this event was about. Raising money and taking our minds off of it and watching these guys have fun competing. And they were competing, man. And Brady was scuffling, and the free football world outside of the TB12 community was having their fun, as if golf's an easy thing to do. As if golf's an easy thing to do in the rain. Sean Payton with the tweet of the day. I'm liking this Florida Tom Brady right now. Oh, yeah, Brady's now 0-1 without Belichick. Look at what Brady's like without Bill. It was all about Bill. Look at Brady now. You know, Tom Brady,
Hacky jokes.
when he was done with his day, in which he damn near pulled off the comeback, a la 28-3.
Missed 2 putts by that much.
He sure did. And it's interesting how after every missed putt like that, the sound would go completely off, totally silent. Mike Del Tufo, what does it mean when a television broadcast goes completely silent like that?
Somebody said something.
A magic word.
Yes.
A magic word.
One of the 7 words you can't
Yes,
say.
one of those
George Carlin bit.
words.
Happened quite a bit. That's why, again, I love it. These guys were giving each other crap, grief. They were into it. And Brady's struggling. And Nick Foles is chiming in because Peyton Manning invoked his name to try and get in Brady's kitchen prior to the match starting. If Tom and Phil start coming back, Philly's special. Go win it. Brooks Koepka's like, hey, Tom, we'll give you $100,000 to charity if you par a hole. Brady pars the hole by holing out from the middle of the fairway. What? I mean, look, people, we have all been here before, struggling at the game of golf. Holding up your playing partners. Not being sociable at all because you're holding up your playing partners. That's the worst thing. You don't want to be, if you're not competitive in golf, you've got to at least be sociable. Not just, I mean, mixing it up, but socially acceptable playing. Meaning you can't hold everybody up. Everybody's firing at pins and hitting fairways, and you're digging out from underneath some fauna and flora you didn't even know existed. It's the worst feeling in the world. Then you start fresh at the next hole, like, okay, this is going to start. This is it. This is my moment. I'm going to, oh, God, there it goes again. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
And none of us who have been there have been to 9 Super Bowls, too. And yet,
Nope.
this photograph we're seeing of Tom Brady on the screen, he might be given a you-the-man point at Phil. This might have been after he holed out. It was. But to me, this, you know what this photograph is? I see what you're tweeting about me. I know what you said. He's taking notes like Michael Jordan on a good day. And he's going to remember. Which is why I'll personally admit I held my Twitter powder on that day out of respect. Out of respect. It ain't easy. How many times can you hole out even? And you hole out.
I mean,
You hole out and you are now suddenly on and cracking, to use Stuart Scott's phrase, but you're stinking on so much ice that your hole out doesn't even win the hole. It halves it. And then you half your pants getting the ball out of the jar. That's how it was going for TB12. And everybody's having their fun. Oh, man.
it was like Tin Cup. Nobody's going to remember the 12. It's that he sank the putt. Nobody remembers Tom Brady playing like crap for 2 hours.
And one of the things I can't wait to ask Peyton Manning, somebody who has been there and done all that. Because this is the thing I love about the competition. The competition, I mean, Tom Brady been there and done that. He has won life. The guy has won life. And here he is feeling miserable, feeling trapped, feeling like he can't get out of a physical competition that he is losing because he can't get out of it. He can't get out. I mean, his head. We watched Tom Brady get in his own head. That's the crazy thing about golf. And can't get out of it. And we're watching this happen. It's a competition, which we so desperately missed. And Peyton Manning has won life, too. Beautiful family. He could do whatever he wants to do. He wants to get into politics, he can get into politics. He wants to get into a booth, he can get into a booth. He wants to get into a studio, he can get into a studio. He wants to buy a business, he can do, you know, bottom line, he can do whatever he wants. And he's been there and he's done that. He's lifted Lombardi trophies for 2 different teams. But snaking in that 20-footer for birdie on the 4th hole for a real deal birdie, hitting the green on a par 3 himself and then jarring it. Not an alternate shot. A no net nothing birdie. Real deal birdie. To give Tiger Woods and him a lift up. That's got to be a top 5 moment for him. Not just athletically. I mean like in life.
In life.
Nationally televised.
Whew.
Whole country's watching. The 20-footer. I mean, if that didn't hit the cup, it was going to keep going. But it was center cut. It was perfectly stroked.
They have the pin in, too, on that point.
Where does that rank? That's got to be top 5. Would be for me. I haven't won any Super Bowls, but I've covered a ton.
So he's
I covered both. I watched Peyton Manning lift Lombardi Trophy twice.
Wedding, 2 kids, twins,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
2 Super Bowls. I mean, that's probably better than this wedding, right?
No man will admit that. All right, let's go top 10. Give him some wiggle room.
All right.
I loved it. I really, really did.
great.
It's exactly what we needed. We totally needed something like that. And everybody who is going to benefit from that dollar figure needs it too. And it really is great. I mean, they didn't have to do it. I mean, Tom didn't have to do that. Tom doesn't have to put that on the line. You know, one thing I remember when Romo made the cut for the U.S. Open. Remember he missed it. He missed it. He qualified. He missed it or something like that.
He almost qualified, yeah.
And I remember Dan Marino trying to qualify and didn't make it.
I think Jerry Rice, too.
And the quote Marino gave was something along the lines of, he didn't have the mental aspect to make the cut. Mentally, he couldn't do it. Put enough shots together. And this is a guy who is so mentally acute to know where a defense is coming from despite its disguising. Pre-snap, time counting down on a clock. Tens of thousands of fans going crazy. He can hardly hear himself think. And he's going to actually do all this and fake spike. That guy had trouble focusing shot to shot in golf. That's how tough it is. And Brady hearing Barkley in his ear, basically pulling a Rodney Dangerfield on him. Straight out of Caddyshack. $1,000, you missed that putt. $2,000, you slice. I mean, it sounds like he was treating Barkley, Tom Brady, like he was Judge Smales, and I never slice, which is what Brady wanted to say, but Brady's response was, you got any swing tips for me, Charles?
Brady was having fun back, man.
I had to explain to my children what that meant. I'm like, like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, well, Charles has got the worst swing. Like, you don't want to try it. Like, I'm glad you're not even seeing it right now as you're learning the game yourself.
I mean, J.J. Watt's joking that he's 2 shots away from a club toss. Like, everybody was having their fun.
Should I give my lines?
Sure. It's over now.
These are the ones I sent you. The new Brady 6. He's scoring the par 3.
Nice. Hold on. Which one is Spurgeon win?
The new TB12. His handicap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of thing you want to throw out there, but I would never do that. So I will just wait to say it in front of the largest audience I have. Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah.
The lines are too damn good. People just having their fun with him, man.
He looked like he was having
I've
fun.
gotten thousands of retweets. How did I not do that?
I'm sure he was stewing on the inside.
Oh, you sure? He gets into the cart, and he knows the GoPro's on him. He just wants to probably smack it.
Just
You've been there. I've been there.
Dude.
You can't get out of it.
Can't get out of it, man. It takes like 4 or 5 holes, and you're like, down, woosah, relax.
All right, we'll take a break. Peyton Manning was on the winning end of that, and he's been kind enough to call in and give us some recollections on that. And Peyton Manning's Saturday Night Live that he appeared in 2007 airs tonight on NBC SN. So we'll go down memory lane with Peyton Manning when we return right here on The Rich Eisen Show with Rodney Harrison, Cody Rhodes, Howie Mandel, and you. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on the show. Let's sneak in a call here. Gary in Australia. Are you calling in from Australia, Gary?
I am. It's Gary from Sydney again.
Yeah, Gary, how you been?
I'm good, man. It's after 3 in the morning here, but hey, why wouldn't I be up in the middle of the night to talk to you?
I'm glad. I'm glad you have insomnia, I guess. But
yeah. No. I got up especially.
Okay, thank you.
Jokingly, that golf was great. I don't even watch golf, and I enjoyed it. But now our football competition, the National Rugby League, is going to start up again Thursday night our time. So it's going to be played with no fans. But, it's a full contact sport, and I think Americans should get behind it. I mean, it's NRL.com. You'll see all the information, and okay. I think you should get behind it.
Well, what are they doing? Are they testing? Obviously they have to be. So, I mean,
well, they've been testing, and there's restrictions on when they go back to live with families and so on, who they can live with and so on. I mean, you can't live with people over the age of 70 and so on. They do a heat test on them before the start of each game. They're doing things like trying to wash the balls, apparently. I don't know that makes much difference. But players on the sideline waiting to go on, going to sit, a metre and a half away from each other, but, then they run on the field and bash each other. So, but, that's what they're hoping, and that, and then we'll just keep going. I mean, the season goes for 20 games. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Terrific. Well, get some rest, man. I appreciate you calling.
Hey, can I give my book a plug? I'm an Australian who's written an NFL comedic book called NFL Cliches. I mean, I think that's a first, isn't it? An Aussie writing in a book about
I love it.
American cliches.
Hey, I love it. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for thanks for calling.
All right. All the best, guys.
Right back at you. Thanks, Gary. All right. We've got Aussies calling in, plugging books.
I love it.
What can you do?
If not him.
So before Peyton joins us, Eli joined Twitter. And he joins Twitter with a Hoosiers line, man. Great job out of Eli.
And the GIF.
To paraphrase Jimmy Chitwood, I don't know if it'll make any change, but I figure it's time for me to start playing social media, which I don't think Jimmy Chitwood said. That's why he's saying paraphrase. And then Tom Brady says, in typical fashion, you never showed up until the fourth quarter anyway. Hope your golf game is as polished as your Twitter game. Don't hit it in the lumberyard. So he goes Hoosiers, then Caddyshack out of the gate.
Strong start by Eli's social media manager. I mean, Eli Manning.
God, just got it. Just out of the gate. Just out of the gate. I love Eli Manning. You know, I'm the fourth Manning brother. You know that, right? Archie refers to me as son in his text. I'm just saying that. All right, Peyton, when we come back. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show, 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We're live on NBC SN, and I just spent the first 20 minutes talking about how amazing the charity event was over the weekend with Tiger and Phil pairing up, respectively, with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady for $20 million. I mean, $20 million for COVID-19 relief. Mike Del Tufo, do you have my favorite exchange that we heard? You'll hear the raindrops. It's pouring rain. They're warming up, but Peyton Manning's already in Super Bowl winning form, giving a whole bunch of crap towards Tom Brady right here.
You know, do you bring Eli? Could do that. You bring Nick Foles, maybe. Cheap shot. I was thinking maybe Belichick. Bill Belichick, caddy for me. And just to see how that kind of would have worked. You know,
wow.
Now, it might not have been good for me either, because Bill brings up bad things for me as well. Yeah, that's probably who I would have brought, Bill Belichick.
Just getting into Brady's kitchen. It was great. And then the golf was fun. The competition was amazing. And kind enough to call in to give us his recollections of that is none other than two-time Super Bowl winner and future Pro Football Hall of Famer, first ballot guy, Peyton Manning. How are you, Peyton?
Hey, Rich. Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for calling in. It was a blast watching it. What was it like playing it, Peyton? What was that like, man?
Well, obviously the weather wasn't part of the plan. Both Tom and I got down there Thursday night and got to play Friday and Saturday and a couple practice rounds with Tiger and Phil, and the weather was just perfect. And then on Sunday, the heavens opened up. So that wasn't really what I was thinking about. You know, I was pretty nervous just thinking about playing in perfect weather, much less playing in the rain and kind of trying to keep the club from falling out. But maybe in some ways it kind of helped relax a little bit because kind of your expectations kind of lower a little bit at that point. But as I said after the match, anytime you get to go behind the ropes in somebody else's field, right, playing with Tiger and Phil, you know, I got the years ago hosted Saturday Night Live. You're behind the ropes. You're seeing how these actors and comedians go about their craft. I've always enjoyed those experiences, and what a great seat Tom and I had watching Phil and Tiger do their thing. And as you said, $20 million. I mean, that was the real winner. That's real money. It's going to get to some organizations that are helping out people who need it, and that was the best part about it.
Well, I mean, again, it's not the first time you've won in the rain in the state of Florida. Obviously, that you've had that feeling before.
It was a similar start, Rich, to my last kind of event in Florida in the rain. You know, you're of course referring to Super Bowl 41 against the Bears. You know, I've waited all my life and 9 years in the NFL to get to that game, and you have all these dreams of how it's going to start. It's raining. Devin Hester runs the opening kickoff back for a touchdown, and I throw an interception on my first series. So my first drive into the palmetto trees and having to have Tiger go in there and find it and tell me how to drop, that reminded me of Super Bowl 41.
I mean, I'm sitting at home and I'm thinking, like, that is just the last thing I would ever want to do. Certainly having nationally televised with Charles Barkley able to comment and chime in at any moment in time. but you were able to straighten it out. Tom, however, took a little bit while longer. I've played before with playing partners or people in my group who are struggling. What was that like watching from your perspective?
It was a little awkward. I'm not going to lie. Tiger and I kind of had some things in the can ready for Phil and Tom. Tiger. Tiger wanted to bring his 3 U.S. Open trophies with him in the car in the parking lot and have me carry one, have him carry one, and then go ask if Phil wanted to carry the other. So that got scratched, but he went with kind of the gold medal line, to Phil about, hey, do you want me to mark my ball with one of my U.S. Open gold medals? So I had a couple more for Tom as the Tiger, but when the golf didn't start out so well, we kind of called an Omaha audible on those, and just didn't feel that was appropriate at the time. And look, I could relate. I mean, I was with them, and it's no fun when you're playing by yourself in those conditions and not hitting it well. And so I thought he handled it well, and obviously kind of got back on track when he hit that awesome shot into the hole. So I thought he was a trooper the whole time, and both he and I were out of our comfort zone the entire time. I never felt comfortable really one time the entire day until it was probably over, but I was certainly glad we did it.
Peyton Manning here on the Rich Eisen Show. What concentration level does this game require that makes it even tougher than what you did professionally, Peyton?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time I've tried to relate football to golf, and in football, Rich, I kind of knew how to fix it, right? If things didn't, in that Bears game, right, it didn't start off well, but I kind of knew how to fix it, right? And you start going to plays that you know really well, and taking your check downs and kind of getting some completions and get your confidence going. And now you're back throwing the ball down the field. So football, I could fix it. Golf, I've never really been able to fix it. I kind of always hope it's my day that day. It just kind of depends on how you're hitting it. And although I did make some improvements the other day, it's just different. I mean, you can try harder in football, I think, and it can work for you. Golf, it almost works the opposite way. The harder you strain and kind of stress and grind, sometimes the worse you play. You swing harder and you miss putts. And so it's a completely different game. Just thinking about the amount of repetitions that Phil and Tiger have had on the golf course, hitting all those shots, I can relate that as Tom can to throwing a football. So it's just different, and when you're out of your comfort zone, it makes it even harder.
What's the best tip Tiger gave you?
I didn't ask for a whole lot of advice just because it's just different. I mean, the way he hits the ball is just not really something that I can relate to, much less anybody. But, on the alternate shot, you certainly feel a little responsibility to your teammate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to to your receiver, right? You don't want to hang him out. And so on the alternate shot, you want to do your part. It's a little more comforting knowing that if you get the ball in the fairway, he can knock it on the green from anywhere. And I don't know if you heard the one exchange. I hit a drive, and I said, you're 290 out. I've never.
I think we may have lost Payne.
So playing with a different guy. I think where
You want to pick him up for a second? These things happen. It's funny. He mentions his receiver the minute we just lost him right there. Is he back? I don't know if we lost him. Is he back? It's funny. You mentioned a receiver, Peyton, then we lost reception. So what did you say? There, Peyton?
I'm sorry. You want me to repeat my answer?
If you don't mind, no, he lost you. Yeah, you said that that you didn't. We didn't catch what you said to Tiger at one point.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll start over. Yeah,
let's go for it.
Yeah, just like I said, an alternate shot. It's a little like playing football. You have a teammate and you don't want to hang him out. You don't want to lead a receiver high across the middle.
Right.
I don't want put Tiger Woods in bad positions, but it's a little more comforting knowing that you can hit it anywhere around the greens, Rich, and he can get up and down, put you in for a tap in. And, I mean, one time, I don't know if you heard the exchange, I hit a drive, and so Tiger was going to be 290 yards out, and he's like, I got this. I mean, I've never heard my friends in Denver say, yeah, I got this from 290 yards out. It's just not something I'm used to hearing in my normal golf game, but that's when you kind of know you're playing with the best in the world, and that certainly made me feel a little more relaxed.
So on the flip side then, Peyton, okay, you have accomplished so much in life. This is a great setup here. You've accomplished so much in life. Where does snaking in a 20-foot real deal birdie, no net anything, real deal birdie to winning a hole for you and Tiger Woods on national television, as you did in the fourth hole on Sunday, where does that rank for you?
I'll tell you, I'll throw it up there, and I have to give my partner a great assist. I mean, not only is he the greatest golfer of all time, he is by far the best caddy and green reader ever in history. I mean, you talk about pressure on those putts because he tells you, hit it right here at this speed, and it'll go in. I mean, his ability to read those greens, and I think he reads a lot of his greens, obviously, when he's playing, probably gets confirmation from, Joey, his caddy. So, but you feel like you're getting a really good read, and I could just hit it to that spot. So that felt good. Knowing my partner was, I think, 7 feet away for birdie himself.
Yes.
I felt like he was going to make it. So that probably helped me relax a little bit. But it was definitely a team effort, and it always feels good when you see one go in the hole.
I mean, I really, for a moment, put myself in your shoes saying that would be the greatest thing I've ever done. I mean, of all time, that it goes right in. And it's just, again, it's no candy. That was real. You fired at the pin. You hit it from where you landed, and you got it in the hole. And you just, to turn to Tiger Woods and say, you can pick yours up. I got it. I mean,
yeah,
that's it.
That did feel good. I'm not going to lie. You made me be non-humble for a minute. That did feel good. Knowing you can tell Tiger picked that up. That was probably the best part about it.
I got you, Tiger. Don't worry. I got you. I mean, that's the greatest. That's got to be the greatest. I mean, oh my God. I was rooting for you right there. Peyton Manning here on the Rich Eisen Show. So tonight on NBC SN, your SNL hosting gig from March 24th, 2007 is going to be re-aired at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. What are your recollections of that night, Peyton?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about it just the other day because someone sent me a social media post of me throwing the footballs at those kids in the United Way skit, and they had subbed the kids' faces for Tom Brady's and Phil Mickelson's. So I was pegging Phil and Tom and these footballs. It was pretty good, almost as good as the kind of the Instagram post that Tom started out the match trash talking with. So I was thinking about it, and I get asked about that a lot, Rich, and I've told this before, but I wasn't really nervous because it was live, and I was used to doing live and used to probably screwing up live a lot on Sunday afternoons. But you also have a week to prepare, and you have kind of rehearsals, right? You don't have that in golf, but that one particular skit was the most out of the box for me. It kind of was. I felt a little over the edge, and I was talking to the guy. I was like, my mom's going to be so disappointed when she sees this. He's like, look, you're charitable. It's a spoof for United Way. That's why it's going to be funny, But you got to be all in. I mean, you got to whack these kids right in the face. And this is Andy Samberg, who's kind of my coach on this, and so he finally gets me to say, all right, I'm in for it, and we're doing it, and these kids are there, their parents are out there watching, and I finally just said, I can't do it. I mean, these parents are watching me peg these kids in the head, and then right as we were about to kind of cancel it, one of the parents literally runs out there and tells the director, no, I want him to hit my kid in the face. And I said, you know what? I will do it. I will knock your kid out. Thank you for giving me your blessing and permission. And after that, I was
Oh, God, I think we lost him again.
Cheese after that. So.
Oh, man. So, but you needed your arm twisted initially when they gave you that as an idea. You needed to have your arm twisted a little bit first.
Oh, I certainly had some reservations, and I mean, I guess I see the concept, and it's one thing when you're, picking the car and and those kind of things, but I remember the guy said, like, just treat these kids like they're rookie wide receivers with really bad attitudes. I was like, okay, all right, I could go there. I can find that place. I know those receivers that think they know it all, and they're wearing their college bowl gear and their combine gear out there in the locker room. I can go to that spot, but still, and then you get reminded that this kid's 9 years old, and you're yelling at this cute girl and a cute 9-year-old in a pink sweater. Pink, watch the blitz. That's when I was definitely out of my comfort zone.
People are still talking about it, and again, it'll be on the air tonight on NBCSN for people to check out and comment. Hey, before I let you go, just a couple of quick things. Your brother's on Twitter now. Eli comes out of the box with a reference to Hoosiers, and then in response to Brady giving him a little bit of grief, drops Caddyshack. Very, very impressive beginning for Eli.
Strong out of the block, strong movie references, Hoosiers, Caddyshack. I think Eli and I, Cooper can probably tell you every single line from Hoosiers and Caddyshack. So, strong out of the blocks for little brother.
Does that mean you're next? Are you joining? When are you joining?
I wouldn't hold your breath.
Come on.
I'm still, I used to have a flip phone up until a couple of years ago, Rich. So I'm still kind of catching up.
Come on. But you're still seeing it. People are sending you. You said people are sending you stuff. Are you out there looking? Did you see what people are saying? Or are you one of those?
I mean, I can kind of keep up a little bit, but I'm probably not as up to date as probably everybody else.
Okay.
I mean, Tom and Phil are, and that was what Tiger and I said. When early on, the four of us kind of had a group text, and we kind of said, "Wow, it's always been a goal for me and Tiger to beat a couple of professional Instagrammers." It was really high on our bucket list. So, so I'm probably a little bit old school that way. I lived a long time without it, and before it ever existed. So I guess I kind of think I can probably keep surviving without it.
I bet so. And last one for you, Peyton, is just everyone. I get this all the time. I'm sure you do too. Certainly when we see what how obviously comfortable you are talking and being yourself at a microphone. Do you have any desire at any point to call games, to be a broadcaster? I know you've had opportunities. I'm wondering if that is still something that would be of interest to you at some point.
Yeah, Rich, I haven't, said no forever. I've said no to this year. It just doesn't feel like the right time, and I hate kind of having this check with me next year type deal. But that's really how I've approached this chapter.
All right, there you go. We tried. By the way, I am one of those guys who has to have closure on phones.
No, he's.
Is he there?
I'm here.
You're there, Peyton? Yeah, you said you'd take it a year at a time.
Yeah, I just, I believe in taking a year at a time. That's kind of what Eli's doing. He's taking this year off. It's not really the way he wanted to start. He's living in quarantine. He's home. He's teaching his 9-year-old daughter common denominators. God bless my niece. Knowing Eli and his teaching skills. Wow. So that's what I've tried to do. And I don't really have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. I hear people say that. I love playing football. I loved everything about it. And I've just tried to ease into this second chapter by keeping myself busy, keeping myself stimulated, creating a lot of time for our family and to do some things I haven't had a chance to do. So, look, I love watching the games, Rich. I love going to games. We still go to all the Broncos games. I get to Colts games. I kind of catch myself sort of analyzing the game in my head when I'm watching it. I kind of always did that as a player. When you watch other games, you sort of play the game in your mind. And so I don't do it quite to the extent that I'm not playing, but I still enjoy doing it. I enjoy listening to, Chris Collinsworth and Tony and Troy Aikman and all the good broadcasters that are doing their jobs. And, of course, guys like Jim and Al and Joe Buck are fun to listen to. But just not in the cards for me right now, but can't really say never, forever.
So, in the meantime, we'll just compete with Romo on the golf course now because we could see it. We see it.
No chance. Hey, Tony's got serious game, and so Tony's closer to Phil and Tiger than me and Tom are on the golf side. So he's got that figured out. So I'm going to stay right in my lane. I'm going to stay with my kind of Tuesday golf game group here in Denver, and some high handicappers, some low handicappers, but I'm going to stay right in my lane.
We'll go hit them straight, and thanks for the time, Peyton. You are the man. Send my best to your family. Send my best to your parents, to your family, and everybody. Hope everybody's happy and healthy and safe.
Hey, Rich, stay safe. All the best, pal.
Right back at you. That's Peyton Manning right here on The Rich Eisen Show. That was awesome. How about that? He was going to bring his U.S. Open trophies. Rodney Harrison when we come back on NBCSN. That was awesome. So much fun right there.
That would have been so amazing.
To show up with the 3 U.S. Open trophies. I'll carry one. Peyton, you carry one. Phil, you want my third?
Phil, can you
carry my third?
Can you just get that out of the trunk, please? Wow.
And they held their powder on Tom because he was melting down. Respect. They had respect. Yeah. They had stuff in the chute. That was great. Oh, man. So much fun. Podcast One is where you can listen to our show on demand every single day, all 3 hours of the Rich Eisen Show, anytime on Podcast One. Check us out, podcastone.com/Rich Eisen. And Geico, you've been hearing Geico on our podcast for the last several weeks, and we're thrilled to have Geico in some way, shape, and form part of the Rich Eisen Show. Geico wants to say thank you to you for sharing so much of your life in these crazy times. And Geico now wants to share with you, too. With the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. And because Geico's committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for info and eligibility. And learn more again about Geico's 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies at geico.com/giveback. What a story to tell your golf group on a Tuesday. Hey, what'd you do this weekend? What'd you do? So much fun, man.
Awesome. Love it.
Okay, do we call Rodney? Does he call us? I know we're a little late, but we went a little long with Peyton. His phone dropped out a couple times. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. So we'll get Rodney on the phone. Cody Rhodes and Howie Mandel joining us here on the show as well. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial right here. Did we ever come up with a poll question? I know we haven't really hit it.
I was just throwing out kind of like which current quarterback would you want as a playing partner? Which of the 4 guys on Sunday would you most want to play with? I was going in the golf direction.
Okay. Throw out whatever you wish. Go to Rich Eisen Show to vote on it, and we'll be back here on the Rich Eisen Show when the NBCSN audience returns in just a matter of moments here. Don't go anywhere. So, a friendly promotional reminder here on NBCSN at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Look at that. Gary Bettman will appear today on NBCSN to make an announcement about the league's return to play plan. What will that be? Will that be, hey, we've come to an agreement with our Players Association, or we're still talking, and here's what we've got? But biscuits and baskets, man. Let's go.
They had about 10 or 11 games left, I believe, right? Hockey? Didn't we?
They were right there in the middle of March, and you're closing in on the old
They were close.
8th and final playoff spot run. That always hits. And the question is, again, if you're out, what does it mean? You're gonna in the same way the NBA has an issue. It's got an issue with teams that don't want to play anymore. Like the NBA's got the Warriors saying we're done.
Damian Lillard said the same thing.
The English Premier League has got issues. They're going to announce soon whether they're coming back. I think they some of them want to come back. The teams that are on verge of being relegated, they don't want to come back. They just want to say, freeze it right there. We'll see you next year.
Right.
We don't want to be relegated.
That makes sense.
He is on Sunday Night Football's pregame, postgame, halftime football night in America's Rodney Harrison from NBC Sports joining us here. How are you, Rodney?
Rich Eisen, what's up, buddy? How are you?
It's been a long time since we have spoken. Always great to chat with you. How's your family? Everybody good? Happy, healthy, safe?
Yeah, everybody's good. The kids are dealing with it. It's all good. How's your family, man?
You know what? We're happy and healthy, but the kids are, they're 11, they're 9, they're 6. They're being remote schooled. They haven't seen their friends. They wonder when the next time they're going to see their friends. It ain't easy. It's tough to explain to them what's going on, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, it's tough, and we try to explain the same thing with our kids. You got to be patient, humble, and just it's building of character, and everybody's going through it. It's not just you, so hang in there.
I know, that's what we're trying to all do, but I appreciate you taking the time here. Let's jump in. Let's jump in with both feet, Rodney Harrison, right here on the Rich Eisen Show, the NFL conversation. Is Dak Prescott worth the money that we're hearing being thrown about right now?
I mean, he's a starting quarterback, and I think he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. And in most situations, you would have a team that would be willing to pay him. I don't know if it's, he's upset about the years or the money, but it's a heck of a lot of money. And one thing about Dak, and he's expressed this before, you're just not going to get him to sign just anything. I think it has to be right for him. I think he understands his value. And as a player, regardless of what the owners say, you always have to understand and respect your own value, because if you don't, nobody else will.
So is that a yes? He's worth the money?
Yes, I'm sorry, Rich. Yes, definitely. I think he deserves the money. I mean, he's a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and they can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott despite, a lot of people's objections. I believe that Dak is going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to be one of the top quarterbacks in this league, and with some added pieces around him, I think he's going to excel even more.
I agree with you, Rodney. However, I'm not really a devil's advocate guy, but the other side of this conversation does have a valid argument in the fact that somebody who is paid as much as he's asking to be paid and is going to get paid, even if it's just obviously at the franchise tag rate, should be able to shoulder the season that occurred last year. He should be able to take this team that went 8-8 and was so patently disappointing, putting it on his back and shoulders and make it a 10-6 team and take them to the playoffs. That's a transformational athlete that's getting paid that much. That's the argument.
I think he can do that, Rich. I believe that he can do that. And, them going and, accomplishing what they accomplished, the limited success that they had last year wasn't just based off of Dak Prescott. I mean, it's an entire team. But if you're asking me in the next 4 to 5 years if this guy is capable of really taking them far, and we've seen a team, we've seen teams that didn't really look great and, had, people thought they were overrated, and then all of a sudden, this team gets hot and they take off. I just believe that. I believe in Dak Prescott because I believe in the person. I believe in his work ethic, the way he conducts himself, the way he deals with his teammates, how highly they speak of him, how hard he works, his work ethic. I just believe in that, and I just believe that every year, you can improve as a quarterback, as a player, and I think he will continue to do that.
Best team in the NFC South is which?
Wow, best team in the NFC South. I would say the Saints at this point. Even with Brady being there. I just think that with Brady being there, all the virtual learning and all the hope that he brings, but there's still something about chemistry. There's still something about being able to be around your teammates, being able to practice and just having that camaraderie. But I think it's the Saints. Just with Drew Brees and Sean Payton, that system is in play, and I think that defense is going to continue to get better.
Why is Cam Newton jobless right now, do you think, Rodney?
because nobody knows, Rich. I mean, nobody knows what's going on with Cam as far as, can you depend on him with his health? What's his mental? And at this point in time, you can't invest a lot of money because he's been so beat up. I think the best thing for him to do is go in the situation, maybe go become a backup quarterback, learn, get healthy, and then if he gets his opportunity, go out there and shine. But I don't think he's going to be a starting quarterback this year in the National Football League.
If I was the Chargers, I mean, if you're going to YOLO it for Tom Brady and you're going to...
No-brainer.
You know what I mean? Like, again...
Yeah.
I don't, if Brady is worth it because you feel you can win now and you need fannies in the new seats now, then why isn't Cam a fit? Because he's got more runway. He's got potentially much longer to go there. He definitely puts fannies in the seats. But I
almost looked at the Patriots. I really wanted the Patriots. I know, a lot of people are out there saying the Patriots, but I thought it would be a great situation where he could have came in at a reduced salary. He could have came in and really learned a lot about just technique and just the intricacies of, just being on a really great football team with great guidance as far as the offensive coordinator. I thought that would have been a really, really ideal situation for him. He could have came in, competed, could have helped the young guy. The young guy could have helped to push him. I thought it would have been a perfect situation. I'm just a little disappointed that the Patriots weren't a little bit more aggressive, just recruiting Cam. And he knows he wasn't going to make $20-something million this year, and it could have definitely been at a reduced rate. He's made so much money in his career.
But if anybody knows Belichick, Rodney Harrison, it would be you. And the whole sense is that Belichick does not like Cam's, what one would say, ball security issues on occasion, or his inaccuracies, that he would be the one guy that would absolutely drive Belichick crazy, and that has nothing to do with at all about the professionalism. The whole conversation of Cam not being a professional or professional enough is insane. That it would be oil and water. What would you say to that?
No, Cam would go in there and he has so much, come on, off the top, all these players that I've spoken to, I meet around the league, they have so much respect. They ask me questions about Belichick and his way and how we had success and things like that. So I don't think Cam would have came in and been a problem. Cam's a good guy, yeah. At times he acts a little immature, and I think he's learned from that immaturity. But there's no reason with a guy like Cam Newton, the type of fire and the type of just passion that he brings. He's a good person. Yeah, he made some mistakes with some interviews and the way he's handled some situations, but he's a good guy and he's still a great football player. And I just do nothing but wish him the best, Rich, because it's no reason why he shouldn't be playing in the National Football League.
Rodney Harrison here on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you have anything for Eli Manning's new Twitter account? I haven't seen anything from you yet, Rodney.
Eli?
Yeah, did you see he's on Twitter now? Have you seen that?
Let me tell you something about my Twitter account, okay? I was active with Twitter. I got excited about it years ago.
Yes.
And then I said a few things on national television, and people just started killing me. So I said, you know what? Every week that I say something, I have thousands of fans always saying something. So I kind of ignored my Twitter account. Before you know it, it's been like at least a couple years before I even tweeted anything out. So I have to get back active on my Twitter.
Yeah.
I can't let people distract me.
You know, Rodney, your brand is about not avoiding contact. So I don't understand why that would be. You could pick and choose as to where you place your Twitter characters and on whom. You can handle that sort of thing.
Yeah, but Rich, you know what, man? I'm not that guy that I don't want it to become a job. I'm just a normal guy, and I don't like a lot of people kind of like prying in my business, and it's different because I'm such an old school guy. I'm 47 years old, and to openly put pictures and everything of my life out there is just a little bit of hesitancy. So I'm not trying to get used to it.
Rodney, I'm not saying you should tweet like you're 12. I'm saying you've got things to say. You could put it in 240 characters, and you could, fire at Eli Manning about being on Twitter, about, that his...
What about Peyton Manning? Didn't you just have Peyton?
I did.
Peyton Manning, and let me just say this. I was watching these guys play. I was so disappointed in their golfing, especially Brady. Brady's my boy. He took me to Pine Valley when I first got to New England, flew me over there. We go golfing. Beautiful, beautiful course. It's like as tough as Augusta to get on.
Yes.
And Brady's always talking about how great of a golfer he is, and he stunk in front of millions and millions of people. He had one good quality shot.
See, now, if you had put that out on Twitter in real time, Just think of all the retweets you could get, Rodney.
Okay, but am I putting it out there to get a reaction?
No.
See, that's what's weird to me. Like, I'm not trying to get attention if I say something. So you're saying I get 1,000 retweets, but that's not important to me.
Yeah, you should stay out of it then, I think, probably. Hey, Rodney,
but you know what, Rich?
Yeah.
You just fired me up. I'm going to start tweeting.
Yes!
Probably at some time this week. And my first tweet might be at you.
And you know what? And do it. And on behalf of, because we're on NBC Sports, NBCSN right now, on behalf of this show to NBC Sports and their staff there, I say you're welcome, or I'm sorry, one or the other.
Hey, you know if you asked for it, so I might even just make it a personal note on my phone alarm, just every day wake up and tweet Rich Eisen. That might be it.
At Rodney_Harrison. Thanks for the time, Rodney. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Take care, Rich.
Take care to you and your family. It's Rodney Harrison. He only knows one speed.
That's so good.
So again, NBC Sports PR, you're welcome, because anybody on a sports network that tweets, that's good. We're always telling everybody tweet. Just hover with the thumb over send. That's it. Just hover. That's all you need to do. Don't just see the strike zone and hit it like Rodney's used to. So I'm sorry as well. That's basically what I'm saying. Cody Rhodes, the inaugural AEW TNT champ, and Howie Mandel and your calls, hour 3. Mike Del Tufo, are you out there, Mike?
Yes, I'm here, Rich. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. So what are you revealing? You've got right here. You got
right up here above me is a brand new Rich Eisen show sign.
A new Rich Eisen show sign.
Am I going to do it now?
Let me see this.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Just hope it doesn't come down in your
What are
head.
the odds that
I can't do it because the way it's
Just
set up.
Put down the microphone, dude.
I can't.
This is the worst reveal ever. Take down
keep
both.
Pulling, Del Tuf. Pull.
Just put the microphone down.
This is good, Rich. This is good.
He's gonna bring down the whole thing.
Yes.
Pull both of the cords, you.
Hey.
No, we cannot have this as the reveal.
He does
This
audio.
cannot be the reveal.
He does audio. He does not do manual labor.
It's the way
Elbow grease.
it's messed up there. I can't look. I can't.
We call
Walk up the
this
stairs. Walk up the stairs, Del Tufo.
Yeah, okay.
the not reveal.
He's gonna walk
Oh no,
up the
I
stairs.
can't because I can't climb
called
to
the
where
not
that is.
reveal.
Yeah, you can. That's up.
No, you can't. It's you gotta have a cable. You guys don't know OSHA rules. See, they screwed me. They did this on purpose. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's against you, Mike.
I'm telling you.
Del Tufo, just tell everyone out there you don't have any change for them.
Just pull it. Give him good Jersey pull. Put the
Yeah, there you go. Watch.
Put the microphone down and pull it.
Oh, the other one.
You're a big man. Yank it. Yank it. Oh,
This is so much better.
all right, come back in here and screw off the audio now, Mike.
Hello, Rich Eisen.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
Oh, that's Susie Eisen's husband.
Heard nationwide, televised online at richeisenshow.com.
Oh, that's Susie Eisen's husband.
The Rich Eisen Show. Earlier on the show, MMQB senior writer Albert Breer, two-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning, NBC Sports NFL analyst Rodney Harrison. Coming up from TNT's All Elite Wrestling, Cody Rhodes, plus America's Got Talent judge Howie Mandel. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Final hour of the Rich Eisen Show here on this Tuesday. It's the final hour of the Susie Eisen's husband show. I
don't know if that fits on a mug.
I don't think it fits on a mug. I don't think it fits on a mug at all. How about Charles Barkley? It's one of the...
Rich Eisen. Oh, that's Susie Eisen's husband.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah, that doesn't fit on a mug.
844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on this program. Here live on a Tuesday in Los Angeles, California. We had Peyton Manning on last hour. He said that he and Tiger had a lot of pre-planned shenanigans and grief and smack talk that included, I guess, the weather is what prevented this, because it was Tiger's home course. So I guess he had everything that he could bring, anything that's in his trophy case. Peyton said he was going to bring his 3 U.S. Open trophies to the course and bring them from the parking lot into the carts. Tiger had one. He was going to give Peyton another and then hand the third to Phil to hold. And that they had more other crap to give Brady and Phil, but when Brady started melting down, they held up. Fun stuff right there. A lot of fun chatter with Rodney Harrison as well. Albert Breer was in hour 1. If you missed any of it, go to our YouTube feed, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. What's our poll question, Chris, that's over there? I hit that with a retweet during our commercial break.
So I went with the 4 guys from Sunday. Who would you most want to play around with? So who would you want to be share the cart with if we could do so? Tiger, Phil, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning leads the way, 41%. Tiger second, 30%.
Really? And keep going.
Phil and Brady each at 15% each.
I'll tell you what. Phil was beyond engaging. Beyond. Him describing his chip on 2 and what he had to deal with.
Talking
and what he was
about
facing.
the blades of grass, how they were pointing a different way, and it would affect how he stroked the ball. It was crazy.
If I'm in the PGA Tour home office, I'm thinking, how do we convince the players to do this?
To be mic'd up for a round?
Well, the problem with miking up is you've got the pack on the back,
it would
and
annoy them.
You can't do that. But just in a way, like as you're walking up and they take a look at it and you step aside, hey, before you hit this, what do you got here?
Oh, I don't.
You can't do that.
I don't think anybody would sign for that.
The caddies could wear the mic.
Right, and they're
and
standing.
You hear it? Oh yeah,
I know that. You couldn't hear them talking through with the caddy, but I just thought that was amazing. And then,
that's cool.
And just the camaraderie and the grief that you were hearing, and also the competition, constantly talking about upping the stakes. Phil was phenomenal. Why wouldn't people want to play with him?
Talks a little too much, maybe.
Well, I forget who it was. Was it Justin Thomas who said, when you're playing with Phil, you'll never have a lack of information?
Yeah. Whereas Tiger barely said anything.
Well, but he definitely told Peyton, if you hit it here at this certain pace, it's going to go in. And talk about he said he felt pressure. Peyton Manning said those words, felt pressure. Why not? That was amazing this weekend. Just unreal. Tiger and Peyton were not the only ones who had a great championship weekend in the state of Florida. The first ever AEW TNT champion, fresh off of the TNT Tournament Championship pay-per-view Double or Nothing. Back here on the Rich Eisen Show, the very popular Cody Rhodes. How have you been, Cody?
Oh, I've been just living la vida loca, man. Just loving life. How about you?
I'm doing just fine and dandy. Where are you calling in from? Are you calling in from the state of Florida right now, Cody?
Yep, I'm in Jacksonville at Daly's Place, right by the stadium. Just worked out on the Jags' wonderful flex field.
Yeah, because you're all over that field, Cody. I mean, walk me through what you guys have been doing during the pandemic and how you've been able to put television shows together and obviously have an incredible competition over the weekend.
Well, this has been such an honor and a challenge to do with a large-scale production in terms of our largest asset as a wrestler, especially as a good guy wrestler, is the crowd. So now we have no crowds, and we can't get crowds during this pandemic, obviously. And every room you walk into, you've got to be tested and temperature scanned. But all of that aside, we were able to put on this really just kind of magical pay-per-view where I think most of our wrestlers, and I was pretty proud of the roster, they tuned into the box that is the hard cam and the floor cams, and they really addressed the viewer sitting at home, the father, son, the family, because we don't have our instant feedback, the pops, the boos, the cheers of a live crowd. This pay-per-view this past weekend, the sequel Double or Nothing show was just gangbusters. Every match, very diverse, buffet of styles, having Iron Mike Tyson there to present the TNT title. It was just lovely.
Yeah, Cody, I mean, getting Iron Mike to kind of give you a little bit of an assist and then officially award you the belt. How'd you get Mike involved in all this?
Mike had come to the first Double or Nothing, which was at the MGM Grand a year ago.
Right.
And he was a fan of just the pro wrestling in the industry, and he had wanted to do something, and this seemed like a really great thing for him to do. He went above and beyond. His obligation was to bring the TNT championship and present it to the winner, the brand new belt. And he also, in true Mike fashion and in true shenanigan pro wrestling fashion, chased off Jake the Snake Roberts, and that was a beautiful moment. I also shared I haven't told anyone this, but I shared a nice moment with Mike behind the scenes where he used a little of my baby oil to put on his chest and his arms, and I helped him rub it in. It was actually pretty surreal, but I wanted him to look as jacked as possible. That guy looks great, by the way. Absolutely great. Just so fun to have him.
All right, Cody, I have some follow-up questions.
Of course.
Okay, so did he ask for the baby oil, or did you offer said baby oil?
So he asked for the baby oil.
Okay.
Because he just, I think he saw the other wrestlers are typically putting on a little baby oil or water, wrestling tradition.
Yes.
And I made sure he had it. But before we went out, he just kind of sprayed it. It was a little spray bottle of it. He just sprayed it on his chest and his arms.
We can't have that. You can't have that. You can't have that.
Yeah, no, you gotta give it to classic Nature Boy Buddy Rogers before even Nature Boy Ric Flair, where you rub that stuff in. And I was able to assist in that moment, a real bond over that moment. I mean, I was doing the same thing. So that, and of course the fact that he handed me the title were big walk-away moments for me over the weekend.
And in terms of Tyson, you say, as we saw, he looks very much in shape, that he can give us some rounds. Is it true he might get back into fighting, but the bare knuckles, and what's going on with him? He's 53. Cody, what do you think?
It looks like Mike is going to fight. I know he's close personal friends with Tony Khan, and Tony has offered him the run of the mill in terms of, I saw him pushing the big dumbbells in the weight room at the stadium. I saw him training with Vitor Belfort on strike. So even when he was here for something fun and character-driven, he was training for something, and I believe they're pretty close to maybe announcing a deal. I could be wrong, but people want to see Iron Mike. They want to see an Iron Mike knockout. They want to see him knock somebody out. So, I mean, 53, but in great shape. I think it's a unique story. I think we all kind of want to see it, right?
Well, Cody, I got to be honest with you. I had Mike on this show a few years ago, and that was back when, right in the middle of the hour with the radio clock, not to get too deep in the woods about the actual hosting of this program, but our radio clock, we were required to take a 60-second break right at the bottom of the hour, and usually we would have a guest of like Mike on before that break, and then we'd sit there for 60 seconds, and then we'd continue the conversation. I asked him right before the break, hey, do you ever think about going back? How many rounds can you give me right now? And his response was, I don't like to think that way because it sends me to a very dark place. Then he looked at me. I took the break on the spot, Cody, and the 60 seconds felt like 60 minutes. I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't know. I don't know how Mike would fare in that ring, or who would fare with Mike in that spot, to be very honest with you.
That's a cold 60 seconds, it sounded like.
I held on to that break. I held on to that break like a rock in the ocean, Cody. I was holding on for dear life, sir. I mean, that guy is, I mean, he's been there and he has done that. That's for sure. I'll tell you.
The muscle memory's there, the fast hands. Okay. I know that Twitter and social, they've seen it. He's got a knockout left in him. I don't know about how many rounds, but definitely a knockout.
I bet so, man. Hey, I remember when you came in studio here. You've been here before with your lovely wife, Brandy, and the AEW was just getting started. And I remember you were caught in a lot of politics involved with wrestling and the forces of the business and the politics of the business kind of working against you in a way. And this thing has been a home run, to use that phrase. And I know that's different from the sports that the cons are normally associated with. But is this exactly what you had dreamed of or thought about when you started this thing?
It's been genuinely bigger than I anticipated. I knew the audience was there for it and a hunger was there, but the production and the scope of it and the success of it on Wednesday nights with Dynamite and how it's doing opposed by WWE, that's such a beautiful competition showcasing how many wrestling fans there are. I think since the last time we spoke, I've really stepped outside of the political aspects of it and really just leaned into the things that I can control, the specific talent that I manage solely and help work with them on their interviews and their segments, and then my own personal stuff. Tony, especially in this pandemic era of wrestling, Tony has proven to be such a significantly smart wrestling owner and matchmaker. I mean, a true just matchmaker helping. We've had to do a lot of taped content. So the patchwork he put together throughout the pandemic was amazing. It made my job a lot easier.
Okay. And, I mean, look, if we held a pay-per-view event, Chris, here, right, and I was fighting, if you will, just throw me out here. I'm just, okay. I'm looking at my guy, Chris.
I'm already worried for you.
I would have to win it, right?
Yes.
I mean, the executive vice president of All Elite Wrestling won this past weekend.
I see what you're saying.
We're speaking to him right now, right?
I see what you're saying.
Right, boss?
Yes.
Right, boss?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Is that in the fine print? I mean, I know, you might have a non-disclosure, but I don't know, right?
So I would say it this way. We would win because if I was booking it and you coming in as a celebrity guest kind of for the pro-am style aspect, we would absolutely have to do a tag match.
Yes.
Tag match. Maybe it's you and I against Wardlow and MJF, two, not so savory characters. And obviously I can do some heavy lifting. Here you come in, you hook the leg, 1, 2, 3. It's all over every network where we're off and rolling, viral moment. Of course, you're coming in, there's a little element of favoritism, but people like you. You're winning, man.
All right, Cody. I appreciate that. And plus, you married somebody who went to the University of Michigan, so you know how smart and how successful we are. So put it all together. Once we're through the other side of this thing, I would be more than happy to have a cameo in any way, shape, or form that you would want me to on All Elite Wrestling. And I'll bring the baby oil. How does that sound?
That's a recipe for pure success. That's it right there. And hopefully we're through these woods, sooner than later, safely and responsibly, getting crowds back, and man, getting you to an event. You just got to stand on the apron, take the tag. I'm sure there's a couple moves you can pop off being a Michigan guy. I'm sure you could do a suplex.
This needs to happen.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. I'm 2 years younger than Mike. I might need a little bit more in the weight room to get to Mike's level on that front. But it's possible. None of what we just said is impossible. None of it.
What's pro wrestling? And like you already kind of called me out on the boss aspect, so now I got to make it happen.
Hey, man, I always enjoy our chats. Best to your lovely wife and best to everybody there. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay healthy, stay safe. Let's get through this. And I would love to be part of everything that you're doing. Wednesday nights, 8 Eastern on TMT. It has been dynamite. Congratulations on it, man.
Thank you, sir, so much. I look forward to chatting with you again. Thank you. And the match.
You got it. That's it. Oh, did you enjoy that?
Oh, I loved it.
It was great, right? I mean,
yeah.
What's your handicap? You play?
Oh, are you talking about golf, bro?
Yeah, I'm talking about that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a wrestling match. I loved it, and yeah. I caught wind of the discussion of who you would rather ride with.
Yeah.
Was Tom Brady not winning?
He's dead last.
Who wouldn't want to ride with Tom Brady?
Exactly.
That's my hero. Tom is my legit sports hero. Sports. How do you not want to ride with Tom?
And again, you know what?
You could beat him.
You know what school he went to, right, Cody? You know what school?
I do. My wife and I'm sure you're going to remind me. I know. He's the captain, man.
Hey, look, he's at the top of the float chart in terms of all-time greats to come out of that great institution of higher learning. I'll bring it up any single time. Who's currently winning the poll right now, Chris? Is it Brady still in dead last?
Yeah, Brady dead last, 12%.
Right,
Manning
Cody
leads the way, 41%.
Go to @RichEisen Show and vote, Cody. Okay?
Yeah, I'm going to vote a bunch of times. Who doesn't want to ride with Tom?
Attaboy. You take care of yourself. You be well.
Thank you, sir. You too.
That's Cody Rhodes. @Cody Rhodes on Twitter. @American Nightmare Cody on Instagram. When we come back, he is a judge on America's Got Talent. He is Howie Mandel, one of the funniest guys that's ever been here in the show. He will join us in a moment. Yeah, boss. You've got to win, boss. How do I not call him out on that? Oh, all right. You helped create this thing. You've built it into a... Do you remember when he was here? Was it him who said... Or wasn't it Kevin Smith who said that he was going to promote... Somebody said they were going to promote something, and when they were on All Elite Wrestling, the WWE said, don't come now.
It was Kevin Smith.
Wasn't that Kevin Smith?
It was.
Like that was part of the the booking wars that you normally hear on talk shows. Like if you say yes to that show, you may not come on ours. By the way, we don't have that sort of thing here on the Rich Eisen Show. Wasn't that Kevin Smith, the director? He came on it with Chris Jericho. That's why.
Yes.
He had Chris Jericho. There were two of them were here.
Jay and Silent Bob. He had that comeback.
He had the cameo.
Yeah.
And we won't say what the cameo was. Now it's all coming back to me. And they were going to promote it on All Elite Wrestling and also show up at WWE here in Los Angeles, right? And they said, don't come.
Don't come.
So Cody, had a vision. It took guts. It took determination. The Khan family, Tony. I interviewed Shad in London last year. And Shad said he had to be convinced by Tony, hey, this is an idea that we should do. Start a new wrestling and organization.
It's working.
So, yeah, he took the risk and put his reputation out there to help. So, of course, when you have your first championship, who's going to be the winner? Yeah, boss. Yeah. If we ever have something like that, I'll tell you right now, you're not winning.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him.
Mike, you're not winning. No. And we'll have Tyson come out here. How about that?
Oh.
Whenever somebody says on the show, hey, I haven't told this to anyone before, you as a host, you're like, this is great.
Okay.
Terrific. Had no idea that Cody Rhodes would be the first in the 5+ year history of the show saying, here's something I didn't share with anybody. I rubbed baby oil all over Mike Tyson this week, and we shared a nice moment. All righty then. I'll have a follow-up question or two in store. That actually just happened.
These Tyson workout videos, have you seen some of these?
I have not.
That are circulating? He looks...
He can still fight.
He looks like he did 30 years ago.
When Tyson fought, if you did not see the first minute, you were running the risk of missing the entire fight. I think my friend, one of my buddies, went to the bathroom as they touched gloves against Michael Spinks, and he missed the fight.
Oof.
Right? Didn't he knock out Spinks in like 30 seconds? Is that the one he knocked out in 30 seconds? I forget who it was. We're back with Howie Mandel in a second. The Rich Eisen Show, catch all 3 hours anytime on Podcast One, so you can listen on demand. You can watch on demand at youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show, or obviously watch us on NBCSN every single day between 1 and 3 Eastern Time. Last week, we had Terry Crews on. He is hosting America's Got Talent. Season 15 premieres tonight, Tuesday, May 26th, 8 Eastern Time. And one of the judges of this show back here on The Rich Eisen Show is Howie Mandel. How are you, sir?
I seem to be okay. I'm just waiting for the applause to die down. Give me a second.
No, there's no audience here. We are audience-free, Howie. But I would tell you, if we had one, they'd be standing.
Can't we just pretend?
We can. We can.
Really?
But
I heard you talking about Tyson.
Yes.
I was at the Holyfield fight.
The one where he bit him.
Close.
He bit him.
What?
That's the one where he bit Evander. Right?
Yes.
And what's your recollection
that was
of
like
that?
the scariest night in my sports activity ever in my life. I didn't believe what I was seeing. You know, they stopped that fight a couple of times before because I think he was biting before.
Yes.
But when he spit that out, I was close enough to say, what is he eating that he just spit? Oh, look, he spit out his gum. Wait, that's not gum. That's flesh.
That's lobe. That's lobe. By the way, lobe doesn't stay fresh for like a minute, apparently. It doesn't.
Why do you know that?
You
Why do you know that?
I was just trying to make a joke. I'll be very honest with you, Howie. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't try to.
No, you should. You should.
Okay.
And I love that you cop to it.
I do.
In fact, when I get back to stand-up, I'm going to use that method. Because when there is sometimes
Yes.
in every comics world,
Yes.
there are crickets, right? Not everything works. Not everything's a gem.
Yes.
But I love following up in that silence. Hey, people, I was just trying to make a joke.
Just trying. Try, but the whole thing is trying does a lot of heavy lifting in that statement because you know what I mean. Because if somebody says, "Why would you say that?" or "What do you mean by that?" then clearly it doesn't work. No
and
good.
you had Peyton on earlier.
I did indeed. Yes.
Oh my God! Did you watch yesterday? That was
What'd you think?
Exciting yet boring at the same time. It was a blend of exciting because you want to see sports, but it gave me new ideas. You know, I also produce on the side. I want to call like LeBron. I want to see LeBron lawn bowling.
Okay.
Don't you think? Not so much, and to make it different than what we saw, not rain, but with just an overcast day of LeBron lawn bowling.
Why overcast? Does that add a little bit of extra?
No, because I'm just trying to, because it worked yesterday. You know, the cable stations hit record numbers.
They did,
and it was rain. 4 guys golfing in the rain, splitting of pants. You know, I just want to do. I just want to I don't want to adhere. I want to adhere to the formula of success. So I don't want to say, oh, he's just copying what they did. So I just want it to be overcast, no rain.
You know, it's interesting, Howie, because I'm kind of ready to go full circle here on this conversation because of what you said. That it was watching the Holyfield Tyson fight in person was the scariest moment of your sports viewing life. What did that displace? What is the second scariest moment that you've ever had?
Well, you have to know who you're talking to here, and
Yes.
this is pre-pandemic. I've always, people are calling this a pandemic. I'm calling it. Told you, I'm the biggest germaphobe there ever was. So the fear of any sporting event. I like sports.
Yes.
But I predominantly watch sports on television or listen to sports on the radio, but I go to things because that's what people do, and just being amongst the crowd, just being shoulder to shoulder with people is horrifying. It has always been horrifying to me, and so that's
anything,
horrifying. Go ahead.
Anything. So anything you're saying, any sporting event you ever went to was the scariest that you've ever been to, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and just being amongst people. So where else are you amongst that kind of crowd of strangers and being touched by going through a turnstile? And it's any arena, any coliseum, any place that I've ever gone to see a sporting event is terrible. I go in terrified, and I hope that the game will kind of alleviate or take my mind off of this pervasive darkness that is going on in my head, and it usually does. I can get into the game and be distracted. So now when I'm really scared of the crowd and I have a really good seat at a fighting match and I'm just starting to ease up of the pain, the man in the ring is eating the other man. And that's scary.
And thus the scariest of all time, Howie Mandel here on the Rich Eisen Show. So I was going to ask you that, so how are you handling quarantine? It's just
no. I've been in quarantine. I have moments that people see me on television where I'm out of quarantine. I live quarantine. I live in, I felt responsible at the beginning of this with the shortage of PPE. I thought, have I been hoarding? Have I been hoarding it all? From day one of my career in 1977, I got known for putting a rubber glove, a latex, a surgical glove over my head. Where did I have that? I've been carrying them from the time that they were available to the general public because I didn't want to touch things. So I've actually given away all my PPE, and now that the world is living clean, I'm actually, I don't know that misery enjoys company, but everybody's in my nightmare with me. This is horrible.
I do remember that part of your stand-up act. I do remember that, where you would put the
rubber glove.
Yeah, the rubber glove over your head and kind of like blow it up.
Way before, and I had surgical masks, and I built another little guest room off of my main house for when I had kids and they got sick. I would go into the other room. It was like a rehearsal for this. I have been rehearsing all my life, and now I'm an expert at this.
That's why you call it Told You. That's why it's what you and hey, your memoir is called Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me.
See that? And that was a New York Times bestseller 5 years ago. Free. I'm like the Jewish Nostradamus.
Oh my gosh, Howie Mandel here on the Rich Eisen Show, and that was all your stand-up. That was pre St. Elsewhere? I mean, you're.
Oh yeah, that was 1977.
Who would you do stand-up with in '77? Walk me through it.
Well, in '77 you wouldn't have known, but I did a young comedian special, I think in '80 or '81.
Okay.
On my young comedian special, which was they used to do that annually, to kind of give a showcase to the new young kids who were coming up. So on my special, it was me, Jerry Seinfeld.
Come on.
I don't know what he ended up doing. Richard Lewis, Harry Anderson, and me, and it was hosted by the Smothers Brothers at the Roxy in L.A. on Sunset.
So who was the most neurotic one on stage? Would that be
It was just a short bus of neurosis. It was like, I don't know who was more, but we were all pretty neurotic. The least was probably Harry Anderson.
Sure. May he rest in peace. Right. So, but right. We had Richard Lewis here on the show once, and I think I asked one question at the start, and then he talked, and then that was the end of it. It was just, it was amazing.
More of a session.
It
of a therapy session.
It did feel like, that's why I asked who's the most neurotic, because I would have taken him. I would have taken him, Howie.
I've come, at this age, and I'm an old guy now. I've become very comfortable with my discomfort. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm very comfortable with it. I'm also very medicated. So I am. I go, and my therapist through this pandemic has moved into. He just informed me he's a little upset, but he's happy. I moved him into a whole new tax bracket.
Oh my God! I don't know whether you're being serious or not. That might actually be
being serious.
Oh my gosh!
I'm always serious, but laughter is the best medicine.
You are.
Unless you have diarrhea, then laughter is not the best.
Oh my God! I tried stand-up in college. It was the toughest thing I've ever done, but it was the most exhilarating. Getting people to laugh.
That's how I feel. My analogy. I love thrill rides. you know, and
Okay.
I love like being scared because maybe it's because I'm medicated, so I'm kind of flatline most of the time. So I love excitement.
Right.
And the higher I'm being tossed and the scarier it is and the bigger the drop and the closer to death I think I've come, the more I enjoy it, the more my adrenaline. And that's what stand-up is to me. That's what getting up on stage and going, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. And then I love, like now after 40 years, I got a safety net of a ton of material, but I love to not have material. I love when something technical, there's a glitch,
Yes.
something happens. Not so much a pandemic, but short of this pandemic, I enjoy trouble, and I enjoy getting in trouble, and I enjoy, and that's the electricity on AGT, which premieres tonight on NBC at 8 o'clock.
I was
But that
literally
is
about to make that U-turn for you, Howie, and look
I
at you
felt it.
making that
I'm
U-turn.
psychic.
I was about
Thank
to do
you.
that. I was really
Thank you.
about to
I'm
do
driving,
that.
apparently. I'm driving your show.
It's great, though.
You can take over now.
No, it's great. It's great. I was literally about to say, it sounds like you were describing an act on America's Got Talent.
Well,
tonight
every
at
act,
Eisen.
you know, these people show up with their hopes and their dreams, and they're not, for the most part, incredibly trained or haven't put a lot, unlike sports. They, you know, when you show up on the field or on the court,
yes,
you know, you put in tons and tons and tons of, a lot of these people have, but then they don't have the experience of playing in the real game, and this is the real game. And to see that awe and that joy and that fear in these people's eyes, and then within 2 minutes, hopefully their life has changed forever and their hopes and dreams have come true. And it's so exciting. You know, there's one, I'm not giving away anything, but tonight there's a viral video already on YouTube they released last week from our show. There was a man who was wrongly incarcerated. DNA freed him after 36 years in prison. He was a kid, and now he's out in his 60s, 36 years. He just got freed in March. And all he wanted to do, he used to watch AGT on TV. He just wanted to sing, and he comes out. It doesn't even, you know, he's never even used a cell phone. 36 years is an eternity, and he comes on our show and sings the most heartwarming, tear-jerking rendition of "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me" by Elton John. You know, if you haven't seen it, go click on YouTube and watch Archie.
Well, you were talking.
It's incredible. I watched this over the weekend, Howie, off of your Twitter feed. Just remarkable, this guy's story.
Yeah, and there's a ton of those, and the beauty of AGT is this is a platform. And you're going to take that ride with us. The beauty of tonight is we started taping, 17 days before the shutdown of the pandemic. So you're going to see the crowd of 4,000. You're going to see it won't be like it'll be a lot louder and more exciting than the golf match of yesterday, which was exciting for me because that's the only sports that exist. But the truth is, it's like an old friend, and you'll be cloaked in cheering audiences and tears and laughter and everything. And then the pandemic happened, and we didn't get shut down right away. They removed our audience. You'll see that in a few weeks.
Right.
So we have these people performing like yesterday, but they go ta-da, and then it's like crickets. There's nobody there except us four, and I'm sure Terry mentioned that we have Heidi Klum back.
Yes.
Sofia Vergara, who is just so beautiful and witty and smart and funny, and Simon and Terry were all there, but that's all that's in the room when they go ta-da. And then Heidi got sick, and luckily it turned out it wasn't COVID-19, but she was sick, and then there was three of us, and then they shut us down, and we started Zooming.
And you're just going to watch it all develop, and we're
unfold,
right? And we were
in front
just
of your eyes,
we were
like
just
everybody
and we were just looking at the I guess promotional, not the photograph, but it's sort of a graphic where you're all photoshopped clearly, but you do look the most socially distant. I'll be honest with you. Howie.
I am.
You look like you're like
we weren't standing together. You're talking about the five of us.
Yes, the five of you. Yeah. It looks like they even photoshopped you socially distant, Howie. I'll be very honest with you. That's what it looks like.
I am socially distant. I was born socially distant. Well, also I've been, I've been married for 40 years.
Yes.
And we had our 40th anniversary in lockdown, and my wife informed me there probably will not be a 41 because we're in lockdown. She's really learned who I am and what makes me tick, and she's really not happy with that.
After four decades,
anybody who's been married for more than a decade knows what social distancing is. Right? Don't touch me. Get away from me. I feel you breathing on me. Get away.
And now you've got the backstop.
Decade of marriage.
Exactly. And now you've got the backstop of, honey, I was just trying to make a joke. Now you've got that backstop, Howie.
Yes.
Because of what?
It's no joke now. People have always said, like, I'm in Hollywood and I've been married all this time. They go, how do you make it work? Well, I was doing, 100 to 200 live dates a year. I was doing AGT. I was busy. I was not at home, and my wife was thrilled. She said, distance makes the heart grow fonder. A pandemic in lockdown kind of just F's that all up.
And by the way, you forgot about turning people who open cases into princesses, Howie. You did that.
Duchess.
Oh, pardon me. My bad. I just screwed that one up.
No, you didn't. You didn't. She's always been a princess in your eyes, but she's a duchess. And Meghan Markle,
that's right.
Don't know,
That's correct.
was a.
And prior to that, Chrissy Teigen as well.
Chrissy Teigen was also there, and then you're forgetting number 8. Come on.
Number 8 being
Hillary Clinton. And who knew then that
I missed that episode. I missed that one, Howie.
I know.
I totally missed that episode. I got to go back. I got it on my DVR. Oh man.
Anyway, tonight, 8 o'clock,
Yes.
NBC. Do not miss.
Do not miss it. Season 15 premieres tonight. Howie, this has been awesome catching up with you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, buddy.
You be well.
Stay safe, stay healthy, buddy.
Right back at
Everybody.
you. You got it. Same to you. That's
Bye-bye.
Howie Mandel. There you go. Well done, Mike. Well
crowd.
done. You gave him a nice round of applause. There you go. There you go. To play him out. To play us out. Oh, he just cracks me up.
That's great.
He's got a similar style and riffing as Saget.
Yeah.
Right?
Freeform.
We don't know where
You
it's
don't know
coming
what's
from.
coming, and you don't know what's
That
coming
just made me
next.
laugh. We forgot about number 8, Hillary Clinton. That just
I was like
makes me
trying to
laugh.
Google like who was.
I know. I
who
look
was
at you.
number
I'm
8.
like, you.
I was like trying to look it up if I missed somebody because you know about Chrissy and Meghan Markle.
Oh my God, that cracked me up. And then a new phrase: short bus of neuroses. That's Did you write that down?
That is phenomenal.
It's a great fantasy team name. Oh my gosh. 844-204-RICH. The next segment to wrap us up is yours. We'll empty the phone banks when we come back. I didn't see that one coming.
Nope.
That was funny.
Nope. By the way, I have got quite the list of fantasy names from this last 2 months of
the last 2 months alone.
of just pandemicing.
All right, well, we'll hit that in a minute.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, pandemicing. Oh, we got to get through this together, folks. Let's do it. I've seen some people in the 454s laughing. They found that funny. That is funny. 15 seasons of America's Got Talent. Sofia Vergara. Could you imagine? He's a germaphobe. He's freaking out, normally just being around anybody. And the pandemic hits, and he's still there, so you got to show up. Probably wasn't easy for him. And then Heidi Klum gets sick.
Right. And you don't
know.
what.
They don't know.
You don't know what's going on.
Oh my God. He might be freaking out. I know he's laughing and having fun or wow. Here's the deal. Don't touch me. All right, 844-204-RICH is the number to dial here on the show. We're efforting some more guests for the rest of the week, as they say.
Okay, were you going to tell us what happened at your house over the weekend?
I'll tell you in a minute, if you want.
Okay.
You know, because again, we're trying to. Jalen Ramsey said he would report to training camp without a contract extension. That's the latest thing.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That was over the.
Let's see what we got. Oh, that happened over the weekend.
Oh yeah, you watched finally, huh? What'd you think?
Oh,
Great
baby.
Gambino.
How much time do we back?
Are you gonna poop on it?
How much time do we back?
Oh jeez.
How much time do we back? All right, it's 1 minute to we're back. We normally take a break, with like 20 seconds to go. I want to give this the proper amount.
He's not
Did you like it more or less than Goonies?
I don't want to talk right now.
Oh jeez.
I don't want to talk right now.
Oh, it's not a good.
Because you're in a mood, and I don't appreciate it.
No, I'm in a great mood. Actually, I slept. I'm good.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, my house is empty, so I have no excuse.
What do you mean? Sarah took the baby?
Yeah. They had enough. They left me now. She went to go visit some family up north.
Okay.
So, Just me and the dog.
Oh, my God.
I know.
This is the first time you probably got dressed in like 24 hours,
Yeah,
right?
it's been a while.
Oh,
man.
my God.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay. All right. Tell me something good, Gary Bettman, right here on NBCSN in 90 minutes' time. Tell me something good. Let's hear. Announcement about the league's return to play plan. Is that an announcement saying that they've got an agreement and here's a date and this is what we've got? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Are they going to be the first ones in of the 4 major North American sports to say we're back? Is that happening later on today in 90 minutes?
Let's hope so.
Then the NBA. Let's get you to Disney World. Let's figure it out. Baseball. We haven't heard a word. Last one was Bryce Harper on a Twitch feed, right? That was the last time? It was the last we heard from any player or member of... They are buttoned up, man. They are buttoned up.
What do you want to see the NBA do? Do you want them to come back and have it just be the playoffs?
Dude.
Or do you want to see them play out the
problem
last
is we're talking about
10, 12
I just want them
games?
safe and healthy. But they can't drag all the if they drag all the teams in. Cuz if they drag all the teams in.
Yeah, Damian Lillard said he's not showing up.
So, if they drag all the teams in, I think it would be a problem. But why can't everybody have their own training camp and then start playing? And we know that the first round of the hoops could be a little bit choppy, but who cares?
Right.
And make it a best of 7. So your 1 seed can't make it a best of 7 so your 1 seed can't get clipped easily because they're rusty.
Or
you
like
know what I'm saying?
Like a round robin for the 7th and 8th seeds, maybe that way.
And how about this?
You get Steph and Dame.
How
and those
about
guys?
this? For the first round, you may not have on your roster anybody who was injured at the time of everything they got.
Oh, there you go.
Stopped. One of the things that, all right, I'll air a long grievance. Do you remember the Pine Tar game? Of course you remember the Pine Tar game where the Yankees
they
got beat by the Royals.
Picked it back up.
And then the Yankees had the George Brett home run overturned because of the amount of pine tar that was on the bat. Just everybody look it up if you're of a certain age.
Amazing. George.
Well,
loses his mind.
the American League had them replay from the last out. They restored Brett's home run. And you know who closed that game out for the Royals? The famed submariner Dan Quisenberry.
Oh, really?
Who on the day of that home run was hurt. I don't believe this is a fake memory. I remember being pissed about it as a kid in summer camp, and I'm pissed about it today. So if you are going to restart a league, you know, and let's just say the Warriors show up, Klay Thompson shouldn't be strolling out on that floor. These are the competitive things that I would complain about if we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. But in the era of COVID-19, where we're just trying to get everybody to agree to play, I'm telling you, man, the Premier League, if you are in danger of being relegated, you want no part of coming back. You want to just say, let's just freeze it right there, and that's the end of it. Didn't the French basically name PSG the champs and just stopped? They're like, we're done. We're not coming back. We're done. There's a lot of teams that would say, why are we coming back? We're so far back. We're crap. The season's over. We're not doing that. So I would basically say, you made the playoffs. You're in the top 8. Come back. Or tell all the other teams, you're coming back and you're playing to play in for the 8th seed. So we'll make it worth your while.
Like Cleveland and Golden State, like Minnesota. They have they don't even have 20 wins.
Well, hockey's going first, man. Hockey's making a statement today, and we'll hear what they've got cooked up. We'll hear what they've got cooked up.
Fingers crossed.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll take your phone calls in just a split second. So, some housekeeping from last week. We had a lot of conversations about sports movies. And then just decided to have a conversation about the movie, period, that we're most embarrassed to say that we haven't seen. And I shared. Brockman, you were removed from that endeavor because the blind spots in your movie viewing history are just so vast. We're just assuming we're assuming it's embarrassing to begin with.
According to you, I'm not embarrassed that I haven't seen any of those movies.
Okay.
So fast.
It's so vast.
It's like the Grand Canyon.
Right. Okay, sure.
Okay. It's like you never took a film class in your life.
Right. The last time you guys saw the Maltese Falcon, I get it.
By the way,
it's a great movie.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
No, you're missing out. You're missing out. I don't know what else to say. You haven't seen Citizen Kane, and anybody, the American Film Institute is so outdated, all that
It is
garbage.
very outdated, but that's another conversation.
So I shared that I have not seen The Sandlot, which I knew would disappoint you greatly and embarrass you for me and whatever. For some reason, just never seen it. I knew about it. I kind of knew what it was about.
Yeah,
I knew about, the great Hambino. I knew of it. I just did not seen it. I just not seen it.
Right. Of course.
So Friday night, we're just starting off the 3-day weekend. Say to the kids, let's watch the film. Let's watch The Sandlot. The immediate reaction was you talking about a black and white movie. Not a chance. Why are we not watching any of these Air Bud movies or any of these like let's watch Smallfoot for the 15th time, no, we're going to watch The Sandlot.
Okay.
Problem is I tried to make them watch Groundhog Day a couple weeks before, and it was a disaster because they were too young for it. Susie realized it was, the scene where Bill Murray's trying to get over on the chick that he keeps walking in and seeing every day and uses his groundhog experience to get her background information and use it to try and get her into bed. It's definitely not. It was a bad moment for Dad to try and suggest this. So my reputation was preceding me by saying, let's watch The Sandlot. Susie comes in over the top and is like, we're watching this film.
That was the end of it.
That was the end of it.
Again, Barkley will tell you what the name of the show is any single time on News and Night.
Rich Eisen?
Rich Eisen. Oh, that's Susie Eisen's husband.
Yes, thank you, Charles.
Got that.
So we watched The Sandlot.
Okay.
First 15 minutes.
Excited.
First 15 minutes. There's the photograph I snapped of me proving it. I wrote rectified and tweeted at you, Mike Del Tufo, the show, and at 2Jiggy, which is social media grandmaster of the show, TJ Jefferson's Twitter feed. So watching it, kids aren't into it. I'm surprised pleasantly to see a very young Dennis Leary as the stepdad.
Yeah. That's right.
Karen Allen, who was in every movie back then.
That's right.
Every movie back then. Good to see her. And then the kids aren't into it. About 5-10 minutes later, my oldest looks at me and goes, not too bad, Dad. All the kids are into it.
What was the scene that kind of flipped it?
Don't know. But it was a delightful film.
Thank you.
An absolutely delightful
I will
film.
do my clap that I responded with.
Slow clap?
Loved it.
That was my reply back to Rich.
Loved it. Loved every second of it.
You want to know why? It's about friendship and camaraderie.
Oh, it's great. And father-son stuff. That's what
great.
makes a good sports movie, with father-son relationship.
Wow. Great.
The dog.
Fantastic.
James Earl Jones coming in at the end. Okay. Spoiler alert. Don't want to, give up too much just in case there's somebody else out there who hasn't seen it.
Maybe number one.
What is it?
1 or 2. Field of Dreams is still one.
Dude. please.
Field of Dreams
Hoosiers is
one.
number one.
No, Rich.
Hoosiers is number one.
We don't have to get back in. Let's keep it to the Sandlot.
Hoosiers is number one. Then after that, we can go anywhere you want to go with the Natural or Field of Dreams or Bull Durham.
I mean,
I wouldn't say Sandlot cracked my top 5, but I enjoyed it immensely. It was a beautiful, wonderful film. My kids liked it so much that once it was over and, whatever app we were watching it on our Apple TV pops up and they showed The Sandlot 2, my kids wanted to watch that. They wanted to watch that. Until the next day when we're like, fine, you can watch, we're like, we can watch Sandlot 2 in the middle of the afternoon the next day because we knew we needed a break. And when it came time, suddenly not interested in it anymore. So there's my son is into Azzyland on YouTube right now.
I don't know what that is.
She has only about 18 gajillion more followers on YouTube, and my oldest cannot get it. I mean, can't get enough. So, but at least we snuck The Sandlot in, and I was able to basically see it, and it was excellent. Now it makes me want to get Dennis Leary on the show again.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Well,
since
great. I'm very happy. This was great news. I was worried that because you really poo-pooed Goonies, and so I was really worried this was going to go down a similar road.
Goonies, I thought, would be a lot more of a romp than it was. And again, my 2 youngest were scared out of their minds watching it.
Well, because he does put Chunk's hand in a blender at one point. I understand.
All of it. But yes, rectified.
Well done.
I have now watched The Sandlot. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I am better for it. I really, really liked it. Let's go to David in Buffalo, New York. You're here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, David?
Hey, Rich. Love the show, man. Thanks for having me on. Wanted to talk about the match with Tiger and Phil and Brady and Manning. I loved it, man. I've actually been lucky enough to play that course a couple times.
Okay.
And, it's a beautiful golf course. It's tough. I thought Tiger's game looked incredible. His back looked super healthy.
Amazing.
Yeah. He looked like he had been working out, and he looked in great shape. As far as Mickelson was fun to watch too, especially that tee shot he hit on 11 where he drove the green. Kind of typical Mickelson. He can pull shots off when you least expect it. Brady, I thought it humbled him and made him look human. And Peyton Manning, he's one of those guys. He's just, even though he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and he's got all these records, he's just like a normal guy. That's what it came off like, and I loved it. One I'd love to see, a match I'd love to see in the future, and I don't know if you'd like to see it, but I'd like to see Tiger team up with Jordan, go up against Justin Thomas and Steph Curry, and played either at Medalist or Jordan's course down there, somewhere down in that area, because there's a lot of nice courses down there.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate that. You know one thing Jordan's not doing? That. There's no way. By the way, I would love it. It would be amazing. Jordan and Tiger together.
I don't know what Jordan's handicap is. I wonder if he's better
but there's
than Brady
no
and Manning.
way. I don't think Jordan would want to put his game on television.
Because it's...
Well, 2 things. One, you're running the risk of having a Tom Brady moment happen.
Right.
Okay? That's number 1. And if you think Brady was steaming, could you imagine? And you also want to have somebody. You want to have somebody who can take a joke. Jordan doesn't seem to me as a guy who would be able to take a joke. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You're probably not wrong.
All right, that's number 1, and then number 2.
To find Mike's handicap.
Jordan's going to want some candy, right? What if he goes out there on national television and crushes it?
Well,
what if he goes out there and actually shoots a 75 on national television, which is what you'd want to see from Jordan, and I'm sure he'd want to put that out there to do as best he can. But you're also putting out there for everybody that you're trying to get money off of at the golf course the next time. You're putting your game out there. I don't think he'd want either one of those things.
I feel you. According to this site, Jordan's a 2, so he could hang.
Then I'm all in. I'd want to see him and Tiger together. We would be locked in. That's not a bad suggestion. I don't know why. Again, Justin Thomas was great. He did a great job. But Phil Mickelson, Why do people want to kick Phil out? He's tremendous.
We're just trying to get some new blood in there.
You don't need new blood. It's the same blood. Tiger and Phil going against each other, and then you could swap out everything else.
And you bring in 2 more all-time greats?
There's no doubt this format was better than just Tiger versus Phil straight up.
There's no doubt.
Okay, because this adds the more fun aspect of it.
And I also think
more personalities, more voices.
The weird rules were cool with the alternating shot. The only use 1 club per hole. That was fun.
I thought the alternating shot, adding the strategy of, well, if Tom's great off the tee here, that means Phil can hit from 100 yards in, which you want rather than Tom.
Right.
Same thing of Tiger instead of Peyton, but if this guy doesn't hit it very well, then it changes the strategy. I really, really enjoyed it. Right. So the format needs to stay the same. They have improved on the format by bringing 2 others in. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind next year just having Peyton and Brady swapping teams and seeing how that goes. But you could basically then say, well, I've seen that and done that. You could bring in other athletes. And Steph Curry's already said, I want in.
Steph Curry's great. Larry Fitzgerald, we know, is a great golfer. Tony Romo.
Well, how about Steph plays with Phil and Michael plays with Tiger?
Well, I mean,
and
can we
Charles
do that
gets,
this weekend?
Yeah, and Charles gets to stay at the mic. And Charles gets to stay at the mic, knowing what the history is, apparently, of recent days with Charles and Mike.
That's
Isaiah.
One thing's first is Isaiah's not in there. Isaiah's not allowed.
Jerry Rice and Marshall would be great.
And Isaiah's just not allowed.
Jerry and Marshall would be great. Jerry Rice and Marshall.
Sure.
Would be amazing.
But I think you want to switch sports right here. That's not a bad one.
That's true.
Thanks for taking in this edition of the Rich Eisen Show. I want to thank Albert Breer, Rodney Harrison, Cody Rhodes, Howie Mandel, and Peyton Manning. Really appreciate him calling in. Just a fresh reminder, in 90 minutes' time, Gary Bettman will hopefully give us some good news right here on NBC SN. We'll see you tomorrow.